Prepare yourself.
Oh, this is the Ninja Troll Digicast.
Hello again and welcome to the Cathedral of Wisdom, or the Synagogue of Schlemiel.
And Schlemazel.
Haas and Pfeffer Incorporated.
Doing it our way.
We are doing it our way. This is the Ninja Troll Digicast, the defenders of all things geek culture. My name is Tim Dixon, and I'm here, as always, with Professor Pixel, Mike Worth.
Hey.
Let's just say hey.
Hello, and welcome to Ninja Troll.
There you go. That's my line.
Press 1 for the ninja.
Habla español.
A prima el dos.
We've got some great things this week we're going to be talking about in our Explore the Multiverse segment. We're going to be solving a mystery.
Yeah, we have a murder mystery.
Murder mystery
of a hero.
The crisis at what was it? Crisis at 3,000 feet?
Close.
Something like that?
Yep, 30,000 feet, a little higher into the atmosphere.
Okay.
A crisis above Earth.
Above
Earth 1.
Earth. Yeah, there you go.
Yep.
Okay. So that's in our Exploring the Multiverse segment. We're also going to, in our Showcase segment, we're going to take a look at the second portion of Jack Kirby's immense career when he went back to Marvel Comics and created what you might call the Marvel explosion.
Yeah.
And in the movie and TV news, we've got some good casting that's been released about some of the upcoming shows that are coming out. In the comic rack, we've got some news about some manga publishers coming to Comixology.
Oh,
so
wow.
able to get able to get more digital content on Comixology, and if you're a huge manga fan, you're going to be very happy.
Wow.
So, we talked a couple of weeks ago about Stephen Amell doing his little deal at SummerSlam against Stardust. Apparently,
what's going on now?
It's not over with. He actually,
of course not.
He said that he didn't know if the thing with Stardust was over with, whether their beef was still, because Stardust didn't take the pin. It was
what was his tag team partner?
Wade Barrett.
Wade Barrett.
Or King Barrett, he's calling himself now.
And who was Stephen Amell's? Neville pinned Wade
Barrett. Yes. So, and Stardust put out a couple of videos on Twitter that said exactly that. You didn't beat me. You did okay, but you didn't beat me.
Wow.
So we may have something else. And I figure it was so successful, and I think he did so well that it's going to happen again. It may be at Survivor Series or
cool.
Survivor Series is in November.
Right.
Royal Rumbles is in January, and of course WrestleMania is end of March.
Okay.
So
still the same schedule all these years.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. It stays in the same spot. So we may get something there. Those are the big pay-per-views. So just like SummerSlam is one of the as they call them, the Big Five.
Yeah.
So we may get something else there. It looks like, like I said, he did so well. He enjoyed it. It got a lot of good mainstream publicity, which is what the Vince is all about.
Totally.
So
and he's got a little time to recover from his back, right?
Exactly. Yeah, he's got a little time. He actually hurt himself training.
Really?
He was doing some kind of bar pulls, and something came loose, and he basically cracked himself in the chin.
Oh.
Yeah, so he had a...
Was it his, Arrow...
I don't think
Oliver
he was doing
Queen,
the salmon ladder, but...
is that what that's called?
Yeah. Yeah.
I was like... thing where he jumps?
The thing where he jumps. Yeah. I don't think he was doing that, but it's... he cracked himself. He had like a little cut underneath his chin.
Dingy. All right.
Yeah.
Well, like Harrison Ford.
There you go.
Yeah,
See?
It's
Worked
a
for him.
Scar. Yeah.
Worked for him. Robert Kirkman has also announced The Walking Dead Road to Survival, which is a new game, and role-playing game on iOS and Android. So it'll be on mobile devices, basically, or tablets. And it's really kind of an immersive. It looks like it's kind of an immersive kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like a SimCity perspective. Where you're in places and things. So we're looking at a screenshot here, and You can build things like you can, but it has a Warcraft feel as well. So you can sort of go out and like when you get
build
into
the walls to keep the walkers out.
And you get into situations where you have a party and like you got to fight off walkers, and it could be too many, so you got to run. And there's there's a lot of decisions being made.
So it kind of looks like Diablo there. The screenshot there.
Totally.
Looks like it's kind of like a dungeon crawler.
Yep, exactly. That high camera angle, isometric. But I think it will switch back and forth. So there'll be this cityscape type stuff, and then there'll be this like sort of like old RPGs where your guy walks around and it's like, and then you fight but you don't. It's not turn based. It'll be action, real time action.
Yeah, but that's anything right now. Anything with The Walking Dead attached to it,
it's gold.
Is golden. Yeah, which I was able to watch both episodes. I hadn't, last week I hadn't watched the premiere episode of Fear the Walking Dead. Have you watched both of them?
No, I was able to watch the pilot on AMC.com for free, but then to watch the next one, you have to log in with your cable provider.
Yeah.
So I was like, we're cord cutters, so we're just gonna have to wait until Kim Kardashian has her next baby, and then we'll find out what's going on.
I don't know what that means, but okay.
Yeah, it's just we're in this sort of netherworld of not being cool and standing at the water cooler like idiots. So that's what that means.
But it was very, very intense.
The second one?
Both. It was very intense, and it has a different feel from The Walking Dead.
It does.
It's not, but it's almost as if you're in on the joke. You have more information than the people there because you know what's happening. You know what's
what to
going
expect,
on.
Right? When someone dies, they'll come back, and they don't.
And at this point, it's like in The Walking Dead now, you see a walker, you stab them in the head, you got to get rid of them. You know that.
Right.
Now, at this point in Fear the Walking Dead,
they're freaked out.
It's not just a walker. It's like Johnny.
Right.
I mean, they're still, to them, they're still human. They don't know what's going on, so they don't know that they've become zombies.
Right.
So
that's cool. That's because we never saw that ever.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I mean, we saw Rick get over that in 15 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah.
in this
basically, yeah. And that's the way the world was.
Right.
It was an accepted thing that you had to deal with. Now this is getting to that point.
Like you saw, there was that scene with that friend of the main character, Cal. Yep. And they're under the bridge in the LA River, and like they're like, "Are you okay?" And he's like, right." And it's
he would not stop.
Right. And then they're watching TV with the. All right. So this was something very interesting. Do you remember the traffic stop where the helicopters see the man? Yes. And then they shoot him 19 times, and it's like it looks like a normal day of the LAPD.
Yeah.
I kind of thought the show was fake for a second because for the rest of the time they're never in traffic, and I'm like, this is not Los Angeles.
It's not Los Angeles. Yeah, it can't be. Yeah.
It's not because of zombies. It's because Los Angeles, right?
Yeah.
It's like
that's the point.
So
that's where your suspension of disbelief cuts off.
The bubble popped, and I was like, zombies, whatever.
Zombies I can take. No traffic in LA. I'm not buying it.
Fake. Faker than everything else in LA was that.
Yeah. That's what I mean. The walkers are different.
Well,
in it's because they're all fresher.
Right.
Nothing's decomposed, and it's LA, so they never will decay. Because it'll all be
right.
plastic parts.
Right, a walker will try to eat somebody and be like, "Oh no,
that's
not real,
not real,"
and then go on to somebody else.
Silicone. But yeah, it's an interesting show. It has a different feel, but it's very intense.
I'm excited about it.
Yeah,
it's
and the kid playing,
I forget his
the
name
junkie
now.
kid. He's like Johnny Depp Jr.
Yeah,
he kind of looks like him, and
he does.
But he plays a junkie pretty good.
Right. I mean, right. What I liked about that first episode, I haven't seen the second one yet, is that like you went from loving and hating everybody like at least twice.
Yeah.
Where they were great and then awful with their lives.
Yeah, and it's, I mean, that's humans. That's the way. Not everybody is good guys like White Hat or Black Hat. It's people.
I love Spy versus Spy.
Yeah, it's always a classic.
But this game looks pretty good. I mean, especially because it's a casual game. It'll probably be $5 at the most.
Yeah.
we were talking before. Tim and I had a class earlier, game design, and we were talking about the Telltale games that already has the Walking Dead franchise in it. So those are more narrative-based type of games, and they're
that's almost as if you're like playing the show.
pretty much.
Kind of, you're going through the different things and you have the characters in there. So this is going to be like something that kind of like you build.
Right.
So it's going to be, it's not going to be Daryl Dixon and Rick Grimes and Michonne and like that. It's going to be your different characters, and you're going to be building your own, or it seems like that. I don't know for sure, but
it's like World of Walking Dead.
Exactly. There you go.
Type of thing. Yeah.
Go get your resources. But another sad thing that came out this week, Wes Craven passed away on Sunday. That's a guy who is legendary.
How old was he?
60s,
wasn't he? Or
I think so, maybe 70s.
Okay.
But he had brain cancer.
Oh.
And I hadn't heard anything about that, so it was a bit of a surprise.
No.
But I mean, Nightmare on Elm Street. He even did he to make a comic bend on it. He directed the Swamp Thing movie back in the 80s. Yes.
Where when the flower grows, the pink.
Yes. Adrian Barbeau. He directed that as well. But he did Nightmare on Elm Street. Hills Have Eyes. I think he did that as well.
Awesome.
It was
all
just
the great
legendary
80s horror.
Scream. That kind of Scream was almost like it was in on the joke.
Yeah.
Like, this is okay. Scary movies are goofy. Let's put a movie in that thing.
So make it the most benign, scary thing ever. The Scream face, which was like the sort of plastic bag of Halloween costumes.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. Yeah, that was the default.
Right. Scary Ghost 1.
So it was like it accepted. It almost made fun of itself while it was making the movie.
Yeah.
But it's a legendary name in horror science fiction. So it's a shame to see him.
Wow. He's a part of a generation, right?
Yeah.
Like John Carpenter, I think would probably be in league with him. Sam Raimi, right? We're talking about sort of the horror directors of that time, right? That pre-digital, more slasher, but franchise movies, right? Where you have 17 sequels.
Oh yeah. Because
Elm Street wasn't so bad, but
Elm Street, what did 7? Because didn't they just redo it?
Yeah, they redid it a couple years back. But then they had Wes Craven's New Nightmare, which was sort of like I think he was not directing it for a while. Or for one or two.
He wasn't directing it, and then he came back for that, and that was set in kind of the real world. It was like Robert Englund played himself. And they were making a new. If I remember this correctly, it's been a while since I saw it.
Cool.
They were making a new movie, but then Freddy was
the spirit that was
becoming
alive.
real.
Oh, that's an interesting idea.
So
I never saw. I saw the first
like
3.
I said, it's been a while since I saw that one, but I think that was the case there.
That's cool.
So Robert Englund played himself and Freddy Krueger.
Nice.
So he
directed a little bit too, Robert Englund.
I think so. Yeah.
Right? Wasn't he?
And he played Willie in V.
Oh,
do you
my
remember
God,
that?
V.
Oh,
man. We were talking. Cool. Sorry, it reminded me at one point we'll talk about Alien Nation because that popped up the other day too. It was one of those like, oh my God, I haven't thought of that.
I haven't thought about that in forever. Yeah.
Because we were talking about sour milk.
Oh, that's right. That's what got them drunk, right?
That was their beer.
That was their beer. Yeah.
Miller High Life was
it was
farmland 2%.
Spoiled milk. Nice. Okay. Yeah. Well, let's go ahead and. Unfortunately, that's a bad springboard, but that'll springboard us right into our movie and TV news.
Way to go, Tim.
Yeah, I know. I bring everybody down. Go at it. The Archie gang is heading to TV. The series is going to be called Riverdale, and it's going to be on the CW.
Rivendell?
Riverdale.
So there'll be elf cosplay?
They're not elves, no.
Dang.
Although that would be
Archie's been doing such great crossover stuff. That would be killer.
Yeah.
Rivendell High School?
Lord of Archie. But yeah, it's gonna be a live action, and I think Archie's perfect for the CW because they do all the teen drama kind of stuff.
Like Veronica Mars was Nancy Drew.
Yeah.
Well, she was in the movie, but was pretty much that.
Yeah.
So I got to say, Archie has always been, at least on TV, has been Saved by the Bell because you almost have
basically.
verbatim characters.
Yep.
With it, and it's like Jughead is Screech,
Yep.
and Archie is Zach Morris.
Yep.
And it's like they're buddies in the air, and then
Yep. And sometimes they're butting heads, and then and what was the Reggie? Was it?
Oh well, I guess that would be Slater.
Yeah.
AC Slater would be the counterpart.
And, sometimes they're buddies, sometimes they're butting heads. So
Nope.
yeah.
Yep. Don't mess with Jesse.
Yeah, he didn't have the Screech didn't have the stupid hat that Jughead had, but
He had the stupid shirts. He wore like oversized Hawaiian shirts.
That's true.
With like a pink shirt underneath.
Yeah.
In high tops.
So that it could be interesting to see that brought to the screen, and whether they'll do it on a serious side or whether they'll, like Saved by the Bell, go with the comedy.
Yeah, I wonder. I mean, they got a lot of opportunities. That's cool.
Yeah. Vin Diesel has let this. He kind of teased it a couple times, but now he tweeted out a tweet that says that they are working on an Iron Giant sequel.
Cool.
Yes,
the animated
cool. The animated movie.
DreamWorks
did it? I think it was DreamWorks.
Yeah. But great art, right? That sort of smooth painted look, and then the big rusty man.
Yeah, and it was a great movie, and pretty much kind of set up for a sequel. So I was surprised that we never got one. But he tweeted out, said something about you're gonna love this when the sequel comes out, or when they announce the sequel.
It's been
so it wasn't right? it wasn't a if they announced the sequel. It was when. And he hasn't backed off on it because people, of course, jumped all over it, and he hasn't backed off on it. So
all right.
So it looks like we're going to get a sequel to that, which is, I thought it was a great movie. So
it's been a few years, right?
Yeah, it's been a while. I'm not exactly sure when.
At least 5 years, I think.
Yeah, I think it's been longer than that.
When did that come
it
out?
Was 99.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Good Lord.
Yeah, so it's been quite a while. But the fact that there are people are interested enough to jump on this when he said that shows you right there that there's a want for it, at least. So an executive producer for Arrow earlier this week, or actually, I'm sorry, last week, said that the next Arrow trailer, which should be coming
this
pretty
week?
soon.
Yeah, right? Maybe next week.
It says the next Arrow trailer is going to break the internet. So what are they going to have in that trailer that's going to be... What they have done is they released a teaser image, like a postcard, almost like a PR thing for Coast City.
Oh, that's where Green Lantern's from.
Exactly, and it says the slogan on the Coast City thing says, "In brightest day, in blackest night, come to Coast City when money's tight." Obviously, playing it now, whether they're just playing with us and it's like a cool Easter egg to use the Green Lantern oath, or whether they're actually teasing something. If the next teaser trailer includes something about Green Lantern, that will break the internet.
Oh my God, Green Arrow, Green Lantern.
Yeah,
I mean, right?
That would be
the crossovers are going to show us a lot. This go around. I'm excited. We got Jake right, and because what else did they show for? Sorry, we're in the Flaro world here.
Yes, they're going to have Jay Garrick in Flash. They're going to have Hawkman. They're going to have Hawkgirl or Hawkwoman, whichever you want to call her.
Yep.
So we're building, and we've already got Firestorm. So
Adam, right?
Adam, I forgot about him. Yeah, Adam. So a case can be made that a Justice League can be formed easy.
Even a Justice Society.
Yeah.
Right. Because we're going to have Jay Garrick.
Adam Smasher, the villain that's going to be in the premiere of The Flash, in the comics, is a good guy.
Yeah, he was a JSA member, right?
Yeah, exactly. So maybe at the end of it, maybe it's I'm trying to do this, and Flash tries to stop me, and then we figure out we're both good dudes, and we hang out afterwards. Maybe that's what it's going to be, and he ends up being a good guy.
That'd be cool.
That'd be cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, if the next trailer does have something about Green Lantern, that would do it.
Oh man,
that would do it. People will go nuts. But they've teased it before though, because they've talked about. I mean, they've shown Ferris Air many times, and in the Flash, in the episode, I think it was the next to last episode.
Oh, they mentioned a pilot was lost.
Yep,
That's right.
A pilot
Barry
went missing.
says it.
Yeah, Barry says something about Ferris Air shut down when a test pilot went missing, alluding to Hal Jordan.
Right, the Ab and Sur meeting.
Yeah.
Oh, it's great.
Yeah,
All right,
so
they got to do it. If they don't, then come on.
Yeah, and what people were saying for the longest time is that Diggle would become John Stewart, Green Lantern.
Wow, that would be awesome.
Yeah, that would be cool. It's not. I don't think it's going to happen, but people were making a case for it because he's ex-military. So was John Stewart.
Yep.
Obviously, he's an African American man.
Yeah.
Which is also John Stewart.
Yeah, John Stewart was Marine Corps, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember seeing a cartoon where his ring lost the charge, and he still beat people up.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And they're like, "Where'd you learn how to do that?"
Marine Corps.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll see when that trailer comes out. Which now I'm chomping at the bit to see it.
Seriously, I know. Text me when it comes, please.
Yeah.
If you see it first.
Yeah. Walking Dead is planning, and this one cracked me up when I read it. They're planning a standalone special Zombies on a Plane.
Oh no.
Episode. I think it'll probably end up being like a
Halloween.
and like
maybe?
a web and a web feature kind of.
Have they done that before?
They've done some
Web
shorts, nothing that long.
Okay.
But I think they're planning this to be like 30 minutes.
Wow.
So maybe they get Samuel L. Jackson.
Yeah.
Tired of these zombies on this blanking plane.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's. I think it's one of those things that when they say it, you go, oh, that's a good point. Somebody passes away on a plane.
We're done.
Now you've got a walker in the plane.
That's right.
And you're in a trapped in a tube with a zombie.
With peanuts.
And all you can do is throw cashews at him.
And those gauze blankets.
Yeah.
Right? But snakes on a plane that concept I think was way scarier because snakes get in things.
Yes.
Zombies.
Yeah.
They I can't even walk across the aisle. You think a zombie's going to make
true,
it past?
yeah.
They're going to be like, and stuck like
stumbling all
stuck
over
like
the
in the
chairs.
thing with the tray on them. I feel like we could handle that.
I ordered the gefilte fish.
Unless it's the pilots, unless they decide to.
Oh, now see, that would be trouble.
Yep. And
But
the
they
cockpit's locked. What are we going to do?
Yeah, you'd be in deep trouble there.
Yeah, gin and Sonic time.
Yes. We're going down. So yeah, it could be interesting. It could be all tongue in cheek. I mean, because obviously they're saying zombies on a plane. They're obviously alluding to snakes on a plane.
Totally.
Which was all just a meme generator basically.
Oh man.
Because
yeah.
But that was of course with Samuel L. Jackson. The only thing that made that cool at all was having him in it.
I guess you could say that Nick Fury was technically in that, so.
Yeah. So we'll keep an eye out for that and see if when they release more information about that. The Flash, going back to the Flaro world, Flash has cast Tony Todd as the voice of Zoom. So to me, that's interesting. So
who's Tony Todd?
Tony Todd, Candyman.
Okay.
Do you remember
the movie? The
movie?
Candyman?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, the horror movie.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
Cool.
Scary dude. Good voice. Really good voice.
Because he's like the bees, right?
Yeah.
And then you can hear him speak, and he's sort of like
Yeah.
And
they said they wanted specifically, like with Reverse Flash, they just modulated Harrison Wells. I can't remember the actor's voice.
Tim Cavanaugh.
Yeah, Tom Cavanaugh.
Tom Cavanaugh.
Yeah, they just modulated his voice, where they wanted to have a actual separate, kind of like a Darth Vader deal.
Wow.
They wanted to have a big dramatic voice for Zoom.
Awesome.
So
they got one.
Yeah.
Once you told me from Candyman, I knew exactly, and I was like, oh, what a creepy dude.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And they've also we've seen pictures of Dr. Light from the production for the new season.
Oh, is it the male or female?
It looks to be the female.
Oh, so it's the good Dr. Light.
Maybe that's the thing.
Yeah.
Dr. Light was Dr. Light was a villain at first, when he was a male.
Right.
Then a new Dr. Light during Crisis, a new Dr. Light was introduced, and she was a female, and she was a hero.
Yeah.
So it looks like the female version, but it's hard.
Cool.
I mean, it's like somebody with a cell phone across the street, just basically snapping something. So you never.
You don't get
you
the
never,
full.
Yeah, you're not quite sure. They haven't released an image of her.
Wow.
So
they're teasing that good.
Yeah. And I've lost my place.
And then we saw the helmet.
Yes, the promo image of Jay Garrick's helmet. If you look at it closely, because there's lightning around the wings on the helmet.
Yeah.
But if you look at it closely, there looks to be like a yellow reflection in the helmet.
Ah. Uh-oh. Do you think that's
Now, is that Zoom?
Dr. Fate?
Is that it could be Dr. Fate. That would be awesome.
All right, let's check your conspiracy theory here, because I think you told me you saw a face on Mars the other day.
I did. He winked at me. Yeah, we'll have to find the actual image.
Yeah, I'm getting all sorts of other stuff.
Yeah.
Let's see if I can find the promo.
But yeah, it.
So what do you think it is?
I mean, it could be Zoom, because I mean the question is, there it is. Yeah, I look at it right there.
Yeah, I think we've seen a face on Mars, Timmy.
It could be a reflection of the lightning that's going around the wings, or it could be a reflection of someone, be it Reverse Flash, Zoom, who could possibly be Reverse Flash, or Zoom could be. I'm leaning more now towards, the more I think about it.
Yeah.
Zoom could be Cobalt Blue.
Who's that?
Which, in different times, is could be different people. I think the current Cobalt Blue is Eobard Thawne's. I guess you would say ancestor, almost like Eddie.
Oh wow! So because right, that was Reverse Flash.
Yeah,
Eobard Thawne in the show.
So like they're his ancestor here in this time.
Yeah, see?
But
crazy character.
In another storyline, Cobalt Blue was.
There's a lot of speculation.
There's a lot of speculation that Eddie is
being...
Cobalt Blue.
Well, Eddie died.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But we've
Of
been
course.
introduced to the multiverse.
That's
so,
right. Yeah.
And he was sucked in, so it's very possible he wasn't quite dead. He gets sucked in there. Somebody saves him on the other side. He comes back out.
Gotcha.
A little worse for wear on his trip through the multiverse. Maybe his mind is a little cracked.
Well, you should have stopped at the Misty Borderland Cafe.
There you go.
You know,
got a little
we know
cocktail,
about it.
you'd be all right.
That's
yep. But in one storyline, or one Earth, I guess you'd say, Cobalt Blue, I forget his actual name, but he was a twin of Barry.
Oh, that's why I saw a picture where Barry and him in the comic looked identical, just different costumes.
Yeah, because the story was, I forget her name, but a female named Thawne and Nora Allen both gave birth at the same time. The doctor was a drunk, and Nora had twins. The other, the Thawne lady, had a baby with the umbilical cord wrapped around its neck,
so
but he was too drunk to save it. So what he did is just told the Allens that one of their twins was stillborn and gave the twin to the Thawne family.
Wow.
So they were like con men. They raised him, and they had the blue thing is some type of gel or something that they had that they could do things with.
Like icy hot?
Kind of, yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, then he found out that Barry was his brother, and he tries to, he gets a little pissed, and he tries to wipe his entire Barry's entire family out of existence. So
even though he's an Allen,
exactly. So it'd be yourself too, but so it could be, and they can pick and choose which stories they want to do.
Yeah.
So
you think we're gonna have Cobalt Blue?
Could be, because I mean that's what you keep seeing. You see blue lightning. So maybe
that would only have come from him. Perhaps. Yeah.
Perhaps, yeah. Or
Wow.
very recently, in the Flash comic book, Barry came back from 5 years in the future, but had a completely different outfit, and it had like a blue look to it.
Oh.
But he had come back, but he had changed so much. He actually was, like killing people. He was like, so, "You're not going to jail." And he was getting ready to like reverse flash them, like scramble their brains.
Oh man.
So there's so many different stories you can just pick and choose. Zoom, they've said Zoom is faster than Barry.
Okay.
He's faster than Reverse Flash.
Oh.
So is this another version of Reverse Flash?
Bond, yeah.
Well, I don't know. We'll have to see on October 6th.
Wow, that's great.
So,
yeah, I'd love to know more about that. I know there's so much interest. I think the Flash is one of the most interesting mythos of DC.
There's so many different stories that they can pick from, and it's been around for 75 years.
Yeah,
so
quite rich. Yeah,
yeah, exactly.
And for just being a speedster, they really were thoughtful of his powers because Quicksilver is fast, but like he doesn't travel through time. At least I don't know he does. I mean,
not that I know.
I mean, even when the X-Men have traveled through time, he's never been like, "Oh, let me help you." He's like,
"I move my feet real fast and do
That's
that."
Right.
So, yeah.
All right. So you're seeing Elvis in the toast here.
Yes.
Maybe in Jay Garrick's helmet. Here's what I'm seeing. This helmet, the style of it looks like World War II. It looks like an Allied helmet.
And it looks like it possibly could be a little bent there too, on the front. So maybe he's been in a
all
fight.
Sorts of stuff. Yeah. Right.
But if you think about it, as soon as Harrison Wells saw that helmet, he was like, "I'm getting out of here."
Bye.
So maybe he knows he was toting a super speed ass whooping.
Yeah.
Maybe that was coming.
Oh, it definitely was.
Because he's obviously run into him before. He knows who Jay Garrick is.
Right. That's my cue to leave.
Yeah. He was like, "I'm out of here." So.
Oh man, I'm pumped.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be an amazing season.
Yeah. Yeah. I think
such
so
great
too.
promo so far too. So.
Yeah.
October 6th, right? Was when we got
October 6th.
On the C-Dub.
Yeah.
That and Arrow come out that week, right?
Yeah, the next night will be Arrow, and then that Sunday will be Walking Dead. That's a hell of a week.
Calling in Monday.
Yep, that'll be a hell of a week. Actually, Sunday will be my birthday.
Whoa.
So, yeah, it's.
You're just not trying to get me to buy you a present again.
I'm just
saying.
saying.
You did that in January.
I'm just saying.
All right.
Just putting that out there. The new Star Wars teaser. It was a very quick 15 seconds. It was not very long, but it shows Finn igniting a lightsaber, and it's a lightsaber that looks a lot like Anakin's.
Wow.
It's blue, of course, but that was the first thing I noticed. But then if you start looking at the hilt, the bottom that is coming out, the bottom of his hand looks like it has the ridges on it, like Anakin's did.
Yeah, his Jedi, his Padawan.
Yes.
Lightsaber.
That one, of course, Luke got lost.
Yeah, it fell down the chute in Empire, right?
When Papa cut his hand off.
Yeah.
Yeah, he lost it there. And that a long time ago, I'd heard that could possibly be a plot point of the new ones, is the search for, like, somebody finds that lightsaber. And it becomes like, it's obviously that's an artifact. That's a big damn deal.
Was this in Cloud City that this happened?
That was in Cloud City where he got it cut off. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it could have ended up in scavengers, like those little the little midgets that were taking apart C-3PO.
The Jawas?
No,
on Tatooine
on Cloud City.
On Cloud City. Oh.
The one that had the pieces that Chewbacca had to get the pieces of C-3PO back from.
Carrying him in a net bag.
Yeah. They may have picked him up because, just because Luke fell and dropped out of the bottom doesn't mean that's going to.
Sure.
So it could end up somewhere like on the black market. Somebody selling it because, you think about,
it's a very powerful weapon.
Exactly.
Yeah, you could just
and the fact of whose it is, that's a huge deal.
Yeah, right. Lightsabers were. You have just Vader's and
at the time. Yeah, at the time
Luke's.
that was the only. Yeah, there was the only two really that were around.
Yeah.
So, and that was, like I said, originally that was what I had heard, that was going to be a huge plot point of that lightsaber was going to be a big deal. So maybe Finn's the one that found it, and that's what starts all this. And at some point, he has to use it against Kylo Ren.
Oh man,
So,
cool.
But he looks like he knows what he's doing because he's got it, and the classic pose
right up at bat. Yeah. Wow.
So again, it's every time they show something, it's just like I'm more
Get
and
the
more
little tingles.
Yeah, more and more chomping at the bit. I want to see it. I really want to see it. So.
Oh, that sounds great.
But that was this is it's on the Star Wars subject, but they posted on their Facebook page. They posted a picture of I forget the character's name. It's being played by the lady from Game of Thrones.
In the news,
Brienne of Tarth.
Yeah.
I don't remember her name, but they posted a picture of they're on the Facebook page. They're posting pictures and asking people to to
Darth Vader, they call her.
Darth Vader, nice.
The metal. She's the stormtrooper.
Yes.
Right. The chrome.
Yeah. I can't remember the character's name, but they were posting.
Gwendolyn Christie is her name.
Yeah. Okay, that's the actress's name. They were posting pictures of her to get people to do artwork. Like if they were going to submit fan art, and the ones were going to be picked up and featured.
Mm-hmm.
And somebody had to put a comment that it didn't look like very feminine armor. And they were very quick. It was a very good response from the Star Wars, whoever is running the Star Wars Facebook page.
What'd they say?
They quickly shut them down and said, "Listen, it's armor on a female. As long as it protects them. It doesn't have to be a gold bikini or."
Right.
So that was kind of the thing. It was like okay,
Red Sonja. We don't
exactly.
Need,
You don't. It's armor that's protecting someone, so it doesn't have to. So it was a good thing to see them like quickly shut that guy down.
How about her armor on her armor on Game of Thrones isn't feminine?
No,
it's normal. Yeah,
and she's a badass.
Sort of ambiguous, yeah.
So, but that's the whole thing. It's like it's practical. What actual armor would look like versus what the
sort of costumed armor.
Yeah, the fantasy female armor has been made to look like.
Yeah. She looks great. That chrome stormtrooper is such a. I'm just so excited how they're evolving these little things. Yeah,
like, if you look at the stormtrooper helmets, they've changed just a little bit. Just enough to
they look like jaguars or like a cat now.
Yeah.
Like they got that continuous black line.
Yeah,
there's a cat that has that. I forget which one, a puma or something, or
puma.
It's not a panther. It's not a puma. But I love that little evolution. And then the hilt on Kylo Ren's saber with the burning.
Yeah, I'm interested to see that because that's a different type of lightsaber because it's not clean. It's not a clean blade like we've always seen. It's a ragged kind of look to it.
And it's all because of the crystals, right? We were sort of talking about the crystal types. Right?
Yeah, I'm interested to see if that's the type of crystal if maybe the crystal isn't that pure, and maybe that's what's causing that look to it, or maybe it's just a different way it's constructed.
Could be. I was looking at some schematics of like lightsabers, I guess, in Lucas things, and they were sort of showing that they're starting to build this out, where they explain that because I guess in some of the books they talk about Luke cooking the crystal on Dagobah, and that you need two. There's like a generating crystal and a focusing
crystal. Yeah. So maybe it's the focusing crystal is not as clean. Maybe it's not as pure. So that's what's causing that ragged look to it.
But that's cool. I mean, I love the look of it.
Yeah.
You know, it's like they took the opportunity, I think, to really evolve the lightsaber.
And with the hilt, that looks pretty awesome.
It really looks good.
Yeah.
I mean, even looking back at like the the clones and the Sith movie where like you have the tilted hilts, like Dooku.
Yeah, Dooku had
yeah.
it was almost looked like a bone.
Right.
It was
Right, exactly, like a saber, like kind of a Middle Eastern kind of saber. I mean, those are really cool looking.
Yeah.
For what they were, and then Mauls, right, the double.
Yeah, Darth Maul with the double. Yeah.
That's just...
Yeah, so you got quite a little variation on the on lightsabers. So yeah, but again, it's like I'm still everything I see is just it gets me more and more cranked up.
No,
for the new movie. So
and it's this year, so that's going to be fantastic.
Yep. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Amazon Studios is, and I'm really excited about too. Yeah. Amazon Studios is working on a TV series based on Galaxy Quest.
Awesome.
That is so awesome. I love that movie.
It's so good.
And I don't know if you saw them at Charlotte Comic Con. Two people came.
Somebody was Sigourney Weaver, right? And then the one was the Alan Rickman, or what's it?
No, I didn't see. I saw he was supposed to be Tim Allen's character. Peter Quincy Taggart.
Okay. And I was a big Space Quest fan when I was a kid. Which was the sort of video game version of Galaxy Quest, just totally ripping on all the sci-fi stuff.
Yeah, but I love that. And there's a comic book series
for Galaxy
that's going
Quest.
On that. Yes, I haven't come to think of it until I just thought about that. I haven't gotten an issue in a while. I need to look and see. Hopefully, it hasn't been canceled. I think it was IDW.
Okay.
That was doing it, but it was really good.
Is it still the actors?
Yes, it's them out in space.
Show?
Yeah, they're out in space and trying to basically fake their way through it.
That's awesome.
Fake it till you make it.
That's great.
So, I'm not sure quite how to pronounce this guy. Is it Ido or Ido?
If he's
Goldberg?
Israeli, it'd probably be Ido.
Ido. Okay.
Yeah. But we don't know. He's Goldberg.
He's Goldberg.
He's almost there.
He has been cast in the role of Dr. T.O. Morrow.
Our good old friend.
Yep. The creator of the Red Tornado. That is in CBS's Supergirl. He will play T.O. Morrow, and he will also play Tornado
himself.
So I don't know if it's going to be the voice or whether they're going to like motion capture his face and CGI it, or whether they'll do like the Vision and put him in makeup,
right,
as Tornado,
and then CG him to look a little more Android-like.
Yeah. So, it'd be interesting to see how they do that and how that plays out, because T.O. Morrow created
Red Tornado,
but he wasn't like he didn't put his mind in it. He created an android, and then he just became sentient.
Right. We gave him orders to attack the JLA and the JSA.
Yeah.
Right. We saw him in a Crisis Story, T.O. Morrow and the Red Tornado 2, right? Because the first one was basically like a junk bot. Right?
Oh yeah,
the old
bad.
School, I guess, Golden Age Red Tornado.
Yeah, it was very bad.
So Tornado will be on Supergirl.
Yep.
Wow, and he's a JLA member. So I mean, we're still doing it.
Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah. Now I think, I doubt they're going to do it because it's CBS and CW, but they could connect those.
Yeah.
And I mean, like I said, I don't see it happening because it's the two different
networks. Yeah.
But we've definitely got a DC TV universe building
that's growing beautifully.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Going back to Star Wars Battlefront, the public beta for that game will be released in early October on PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and PC.
That's so cool.
The game is supposed to be out, I think it's supposed to be out in November. So just like a month beforehand, they're going to be releasing the beta.
Oh man, I cannot wait to play this game. It looks
that's going to be so good.
So good. I really hope that they do a Mac version. I mean, I know I'm joking before.
I really, I mean, it mystifies me that they don't have all that ready to go at one time.
Yeah.
It blows my mind. You'd think that's okay. Like your list of things that you need to do is okay. We've got ports for all these different, all the consoles, the PC, and in the Mac, and have them all ready to go. So you roll it all out at one time.
I wish I knew the logic too. It's just I don't know what it is. Yeah, because usually like the Mac port is generally made from the Windows port,
Yeah,
so it has to come first, I suppose, and then they repackage it.
I guess. Yeah.
But man, this comes out like 2 weeks before the movie comes out.
Yeah.
Man, it's going to be Star Wars December.
Yeah, exactly.
It's going to be amazing. We're going to have to move the 4th of whatever. May the Sith be with you to
exactly.
December. On the Sith day of Christmas. All right, we're working on it.
and speaking of that, it's been estimated now that Star Wars: The Force Awakens merchandise sales, and I don't think that would even be included in that, but The Force Awakens merchandise sales is expected to hit 5 billion with a B within the first year.
Damn. I hope George is getting some residuals.
Oh, you know he is.
I hope, because like
he's not hurting. He's not hurting at all.
Ranches. Didn't he just like take part of his property in like a very exclusive California area and like make it so it can be like affordable housing for people? And all his rich neighbors are pissed off.
It sounds like something he would do. That'd be cool. Just
man,
cheese everybody off.
Well, we got to get that game because that just looks amazing. I mean, it's like every instance of Star Wars that you've ever imagined being in, you can be in.
Yeah,
which
exactly.
Looks
great. Yeah, it looks really, really good. But yeah, that figure blew my mind. The merchandise sales hitting $5 billion.
Now, all right, I'll say this. I hope they don't make a really bad movie version of Force Awakens, like game, when Battlefront is out. Because Battlefront will be so good.
That should just be the thing. Just leave that alone. And
build a DLC.
I'm sure it will include
Force Awakens DLC.
Force Awakens stuff.
Content. Yeah, which would be awesome.
Yeah, different maps and stuff like that. That would be good. So
totally.
And that way connect everything in. Hopefully, like you said, with DLC, that you can do that. So, Michael Shannon, or General Zod, as we know him, the Silver Age General Zod, not Terrence Stamp was the Golden Age General Zod from the original movies.
Yeah.
But he caused a huge fervor earlier this month when he tweeted that he couldn't use the porta potty on the set of Batman vs. Superman because he had wax flippers on his fingers. And everybody, a big rumor is that Luthor's going to use Zod's DNA to create Doomsday, which was the monster in the comics that killed Superman.
Yeah.
So that fueled that when he said that he's got wax flippers on his hands. They're like, oh, well, he's obviously there, and they're shooting, and they're making him into Doomsday, and then now he says, I was just blowing smoke.
Oh.
Now, okay, isn't he now backpedaling to try and cover up something, or was he really just jerking everybody's chain?
He's on the set. I mean, what's his role? He's technically dead.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
But you see in the trailer, you see his body, so maybe he's just a body.
Because what we witness is Bruce Wayne seeing that battle between Zod and Superman, right? In Man of
so
Steel
they may have reshot some of that stuff.
With then to connect to the story.
And
B
you
versus
see
S.
in the B versus S, that's what I usually abbreviate it as. But you also see a shot in the trailer of them unzipping like a body bag, and you see his face.
Wow.
So maybe he's there just to play a dead body. I don't know. That would kind of suck. But hey, it's a paycheck. So.
Yeah. Didn't he die in Boardwalk Empire also?
Yeah.
Right? He played like the cop. Yeah.
But yeah, he, like I said, he basically just said he was screwing around when he tweeted that, and just although it's been a while now, why backtrack now?
Yeah.
So it's I don't know. It's kind of it could go either way. It could be okay, you're just trying to.
This might have developed between then and now, and someone was like, "We got a theory."
You got to do,
yeah, and then he's like, "It's not a theory. It's just it's a porta potty."
So yeah exactly. Daniel Craig says he may be done with James Bond after Spectre,
which is the latest one.
It's
right?
the one that's getting ready to come out.
Oh wow!
And he kind of said, basically it's up in the air, and he's just not sure. He as he's put it, I think it was that he has. Like basically another life, and he kind of wants to get on with that. So maybe he's been playing Bond for like 10 years now.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I wonder how many he's done.
I think it's been like 5 movies.
Okay.
Over the past 10 years.
Well, he's beat George Lazenby, so he's all right.
Yeah, well, just getting one under your belt gets you past Lazenby.
Or right. Or,
yeah, because he only did the one.
Yeah. Was it Her Majesty's Secret Service?
Yes.
And then I'm amazed I know that.
There you go.
And then Timothy Dalton. How many did he do?
He did 3, maybe.
Living Daylights, I remember.
Yeah, none of them were very successful.
Nah. But Pierce Brosnan, I mean, Goldeneye, right?
Yeah,
that
he
was
did 4.
Killer. Pierce did.
Yeah.
Before Daniel Craig took over.
Yeah, he did. Okay, Timothy Dalton did. Although he looked cool, it just the problems with his movies were not just him. He did License to Kill.
Yep.
And just The Living Daylights. It was just 2.
Oh, that's it. All
yeah.
Right. Well, then he was like in The Rocketeer.
Yes, he was The Rocketeer. Yeah.
Nazi.
And he was also in. I didn't realize, but he was in Last Action Hero.
Oh, that's right.
That's a cool movie. I love that movie. It tanked at the box office, but I loved it because it was everything was all tongue in cheek. You were making fun of action movies and everything. So
I forgot he was in Flash Gordon.
Oh yeah,
back in the day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Right. Was he a good guy or a bad guy?
He was.
He was with the good guys, I thought. Right?
I think so. Yeah. It's been a long time since I watched
really
that.
has. All right. Well, let's not go down that rabbit hole.
Yeah. Yeah. It could take us a long time.
So then we may have a new James Bond.
Yeah. Well, people have been speculating that Idris Elba.
Right. Didn't the author of the latest Bond say that he was too street?
But I'm sorry. Okay, I saw that article.
Yeah.
Okay, you're not James Bond author. Ian
right.
Fleming is
Ian Fleming
James
is the
Bond.
creator.
Yeah.
Right. He's just some guy.
You might have taken the franchise and written something, but you're not the author of James Bond. That kind of torqued me off when I saw that.
Yeah. So it's unfounded from the get-go.
Yeah, basically. Yeah. And I think if they wanted to go that way, he could do a good job. I mean, he's certainly got the acting chops. And
why not?
Yeah, why not?
I mean, he's a smooth dude. You know?
Yeah,
it's like,
exactly.
Let him lend those talents to Bond and make him smoother.
It could work. I mean, people said that
worked in Blazing Saddles.
There you go. People said that Daniel Craig shouldn't play him because he was blonde.
Yeah, right. A little too brutish and
yeah. But I think he's done fairly well. So.
Right, George Lazenby. We'll just
we'll stick with that.
We can do George Lazenby. Yeah.
But MTV has released a trailer for their upcoming fantasy series, The Shannara Chronicles, based on the fantasy novels by Terry Brooks. And this the trailer looks really good. It's set. The whole series is set thousands of years after the destruction of our civilization.
Oh, cool.
So.
Survivor story, post-apocalyptic.
Yeah,
style.
Except it's all like fantasy. Like there's elves and there's it's like Lord of the Ring, but
built on our ruins.
You'll be in the trailer. You get a shot of right there.
Yeah, the space needle. The
Space Needle has crashed over and been taken over with kudzu, but it's still there's pieces of our civilization still there.
So, the question is this really Seattle or is this Vegas?
Could be, yeah. See?
They got their own.
Yep, that's right. That's right. So, yeah, but I just love, there's a couple shots of that in the trailer where you get to see
funky dragon statue, or is that?
No, that's a real dragon.
That's a real dragon.
Yeah. So you get to see pieces of our civilization that you would recognize.
Wow.
Around this whole fantasy setting.
I gotta say though, with the Chronicles, they kind of. And it's Shannara, sounds like Narnia. It's a little close.
Yeah. The series of books, actually, I don't know if I still have them. I had them. And it's one of those things I just never got around to reading. I don't know if I still have them or not. But I think there's 3 or 4 books in the series.
This would be a great, a really great comic. I mean, it's the way it looks. Yeah, here are the Sword of Shannara, the Elf Stones, the Wish Song, and then the Defenders.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's But it's interesting. The trailer looked really good, and I thought it was kind of funny to see now. MTV. Thank God they're getting away from this
reality TV.
crap that they've been doing.
Right, like Teen Mom.
Yeah.
Like, that's a hit show.
Yeah.
And, like, I gotta say though, Guy Code and Girl Code is pretty funny.
I never watched that.
It's kind of funny. Yeah. They just talk about guy and girl code things.
What you can do and what it's the bro code.
Exactly. It's good for like an hour of killing time on a Sunday while you're, trying to like empty the dishwasher or something. But that's it.
But at least they're doing like full production shows now.
It'd be nice if they did music videos. Like I remember those, and those were fun. And reality killed the video star.
That's what I was about to say. Quite frankly, what killed the video star is YouTube. If anybody, they killed the video channel. If you want to see music videos, you go to YouTube now.
Yeah, right. A Vivo or whatever is like the new MTV.
Yeah,
unbelievable.
Yeah, that's basically it. That's the reason you don't have them. And at least MTV was smart enough to know that was going to happen and be so far ahead of it.
Yeah,
I mean, they knew where it was going, and they knew they took steps to get out of it.
That's true. And
so,
now
they're still around.
And they're in the fantasy world, now with hopefully a hit show.
Yeah.
It's a hit book, so hopefully they got some gold there.
Yeah. All right, but that's a look at our movie and TV news. Coming back in just a second, we're going to take a spin of the comic rack.
Our hailing frequencies are always open. Find us on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. Just search Ninja Troll Digicast or drop us an email at ninjatroll@digitaltuxedo.com.
Hey guys, let's play some video games.
This new dad plays video games with his sons, but the challenge feels like he's lifting a metric ton.
So many buttons.
His avatar just stares at the walls, twists and turns and somehow falls.
Help me!
He's tangled up in the controller's cords.
I just don't understand this crazy digital world.
Crazy, crazy digital world. Zeros and ones. But the love from his kids is totally apparent. Ooh. See, you don't have to be perfect to be the perfect parent.
You should have just played catch.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of siblings in foster care will take you just as you are. For more information on how you can adopt, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
Come and play with us.
Evil spirits. Can't hurt you here. You're safe. The Ninja Troll Digicast.
I ain't afraid of no ghosts.
All right, back on the Ninja Troll Digicast here. Now it's time to take a spin of the comic rack.
Meanwhile, back at the Cathedral of Wisdom, it's time for the comic rack. Hey, nice rack.
Knock it off, perv.
No, it's the latest news from the enormous world of comics. Right here on the Ninja Troll Digicast.
All right, first thing, we've talked about the new DCU initiative that started basically after Convergence.
Yep.
And the sales figures have not been good.
No.
They're not. And quite frankly, they haven't been even, back into the new 52. They haven't. Pretty much the standard is the only DC comic in the top 10 every month is Batman.
Yeah.
Everything else is Marvel or Image.
Yeah.
But DC Entertainment is saying that they're not cooling off on the DCU initiative, which I think is a good thing. You can't can't just oh, this is not working, let's go to something else. Oh, this is not working, let's go. You have to build that stuff.
They're about to have a killer fall for TV, right?
Yeah.
And then when is Batman Superman next?
This May, I think.
And then they're about to, that movie's going to crush.
Yeah.
I mean, they're about to be in glory.
But you have to build. I mean, instead of, and that's unfortunately that seems like some of the DCU and the New 52 stuff has seemed kind of gimmicky just to get people in.
Yeah.
Instead of concentrating on that, write good stories.
And stick with it. Yeah. You don't
and
have to,
stick with it.
Don't worry about rebooting and stuff and fall in this.
Quit messing with all that crap. Just write good stories and let them go. Let the creators go.
I bet they, DC probably got wind in early editorial meetings about Convergence that Secret Wars was going to come out again.
Yeah.
And that was a hit Marvel series.
Yep.
And that it's for a brand new generation and all this great stuff. And they probably thought, well, we got to do something too.
Yeah.
Let's come up with something else that we can do. This is DC. We invented that, kind of thing. And I think, unfortunately, they're following Marvel on this.
Yeah.
And they could, like you said, write good stories, and you can lead.
Yep, exactly. And it just let that go, and find a good like I was saying with the New 52 and now this DCU, they're trying to make everybody younger, but they're not getting rid of any of their storylines.
All right.
Like you can't do that. You can't make Batman 25 years
again.
old.
Yeah, but all that history.
But have Nightwing, who is basically
older than him.
Yeah, would be older than him. Yeah.
Right.
So you can't do that. And making I talked about this the other week. Deathstroke. You make Deathstroke a young man with 2 eyes.
Right.
That's not Deathstroke.
That flies in the face of anything that is Deathstroke.
That's not the character. And that's the cool part about it. And I'm still the verdict for me is still out on the We Are Robin series.
That's interesting. Yeah, I keep seeing people picking it up. When I go to Heroes, there's I watch people sometimes, see what people are digging through. What's good, to maybe pick up a good story. And I saw one guy. He was real quiet, didn't talk to anybody really, but he just was consuming all of the We Are Robin stuff, and he seemed to be very much a Batman mythos guy. Everything else he had was Batman or some sort of version of it, Batgirl, Year One, all those things, Convergence stories. But I don't know. It seems like they're trying to maybe compete with Marvel with the sort of faceted Spider-Verse.
Yeah.
And using Robin, who is sort of not a similar character, but I guess has a similar sort of aura.
Yeah.
Right? Young kid, kind of fast talking, but of course not super powered.
Yeah.
So I don't know. That's a quick read on that. I think would
and it's.
tells me that.
I think they're wanting to make everything more accessible, and I think they're trying to say, oh well, you could be a superhero.
Right.
So now even these kids are basically being pulled out of the street and being recruited for this group of Robins. It's I'm sorry, Robin is one dude and he's Batman's sidekick.
Yeah.
It's not a bunch of kids. He is a kid.
Right.
But it's the whole thing in well, you've never seen Dark Knight, which I need to let you borrow.
Well, Frank Miller's Dark Knight Returns, there's a Batman cult.
Yes.
That's run by that dude with the crazy teeth, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. In the beginning of the Dark Knight, there's been a group of Batman vigilantes that have, and they're wearing a catcher's chest protector.
Seriously?
And it's a weird homemade cowl, and they've got guns. And they're trying to take somebody down. Batman catches them and bends the barrel of the gun and wraps up. It's the Scarecrow and his guys. They're trying to jump them. He rounds them all up and puts them in cuffs and puts them over in a corner. And one of the guys who is one of the Batman is what makes you any different than us?
Oh,
and his answer is, I'm not wearing hockey pads.
Brilliant.
So it's kind of that's the thing. It's that's kind of what it feels like.
It could be. But it's I see that and then I instantly think of the Spider-Verse, just the amount of cloning and stuff. I know it's different, right?
Yeah.
It's not that sort of that sort of thing.
It feels almost like they're the way Stan Lee was with Spider-Man is we want a superhero that these kids can think, oh, except for a radioactive spider bite, I could be that
I
superhero.
am that normally.
And that's the new Dr. Fate is a teenager.
Really?
Yes.
Is Kent Nelson? Is that his
No,
name?
he's long gone. He's So the
well, he was dead in 52, right? Already?
Can't think so.
Because his helmet's
floating around
with
Ralph.
Ralph didn't.
Yeah.
It's weird.
But yeah, the new Dr. Fate is a teenager.
Wow.
So it feels like they're almost overdoing it with the trying to make everything accessible. And I one of the things about Dr. Fate I've always loved is his outfit, from the helmet down to the giant cape, the blue with the belt
that he's gotta wear.
and everything. This now is Dr. Fate's helmet with the hoodie and jeans.
Whoa.
Yeah, it's different. It's different.
All right.
It's still a decent story. I do like it.
This is interesting. And he's still the same powers?
Yes.
Any connection to Kent Nelson, or?
Well, it's the same helmet. I mean, it's,
okay. So he gets all his memories and all that.
Yeah.
Groovy
and
stuff.
he's learning how to deal with that, because you've got
Sorry, do you remember the superpowers?
Yes.
The mini comics.
Yeah.
Sorry, that just took me back there. I just came across it.
But yeah, he's learning how to deal with having those voices in your head.
Oh wow.
Because I mean, the helmet itself is a sentient being.
Right.
And not only is there that, but there's everybody who has ever worn the helmet is in there as well.
Oh wow.
So it's something he has to get used to.
Yeah, I guess one of the covers is like a subway tile
That's
version
number
of him.
one, yeah.
But yeah, I can see. Yeah, he's got the medallion on his hood, but
Yeah.
he's still rocking the hex. The Maloik, right? The Ronnie James Dio.
Yeah.
Or Gene Simmons claims the ownership of that.
Yeah, of course.
Wow, this. Oh man, I've been waiting for new DC titles to jump into.
That was pretty good. Like I said, I am still, the verdict as far as I am concerned is still out on like the outfit. I'd like for them to do the classic deal, but it's a decent series so far.
Cool.
So
It's
yeah, you can check that out.
Kelly a little bit. Sort of the homemade.
Oh yeah.
Costume.
Yeah. And that may be something that they deal with, is like, okay, I can't go out in my hoodie and jeans anymore. I need to be properly attired.
Properly insane.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Green Arrow number 44, which is actually on shelves today, will reveal the origins of Ollie's new pet wolf. In the last couple of issues, he's had like a pet wolf with him. That's going to release that. It's going to cover his origin of where that came from. And also, I think as far as I'm concerned, more importantly, there's a special Green Lantern 75th anniversary variant cover.
Cool. Of the latest issue of Green Lantern.
Yes.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So it's going back to these two characters for probably a good like 5-6 years in the 70s.
Yeah.
The Green Lantern
right?
title was Green Lantern Green Arrow.
Which they didn't want to do at the time, right? I saw something. The creators of both were like, "Really?
Yeah,
we have to do all green."
It didn't really make sense to them that you had Green Lantern, who is a space-based superhero cop,
right. Yeah, space cop,
with Green Arrow
living in one city, who plays Robin Hood.
Yeah, basically. And so they but they really took, like, guys like Denny O'Neil and Neil Adams took that and you have this essentially like a science fiction cop. And at the time, Ollie was a radical anti-establishment.
Yeah, he was like super lefty, right?
Yes, he was.
Yeah.
And so you took the two of those, they were friends, but they bumped heads constantly over stuff like that.
Oh man.
And they took them like out through America, and they would run into prejudice. And Ollie would be like, Hal would say, well, these guys are, this guy's are in charge of this area here. And Ollie would go, well, Hitler was in charge of Germany. Does that make it okay?
Wow. And they'd have real discussions.
And they had real discussions about real things like that.
Wow.
And so, yeah, they are, and I think always will be, kind of linked, because that's why I think in Arrow, them teasing Green Lantern is a big deal.
That's great. Well, I mean, they'll probably do an episode that houses all that.
I would hope. Yeah, that'd be cool.
Probably
I think
call
that's
it Green
the
Lantern,
variant there.
Oh, is it the two of them?
It's the two of them. Yeah, it looks pretty cool. Yeah, that's it. It's a variant cover with the two of them
fighting over Ollie's bow.
Yeah, it looks like. Yeah, so it's it's nice to see the 75th anniversary. Them doing a variant cover for Green Arrow.
Awesome.
It's pretty cool. So
yeah, that's cool.
Shadow Man will be returning to Valiant Comics in a 4-part event called Operation Deadside.
So they got him back from Acclaim.
No, Shadow Man's been with Variant for Valiant, not Variant, for a while.
Yeah. But they lost a lot of their properties to Acclaim.
He's always been with it. I don't think they lost him. Yeah.
Okay.
He hasn't been around for a while. They kind of like the last you saw him. They said that he was left in a cliffhanger, and just they just kind of didn't do anything with him, and so they're now bringing him back to the forefront, and it's going to be in Ninjak number 10 is where that series will start, and each issue will feature a glow in the dark cover.
Oh man,
because we got to do some kind of fancy.
Why do they got to go back to the 90s like that?
They got to do that, man.
Don't do it. Just write a good story. Save the glow.
Yeah.
Put it into a writer who can kill it.
It really is becoming kind of like the 90s, with all the gimmick covers and the variants and all this stuff.
Once cards start coming back, once we start having collector cards again.
Yep.
Okay, I think we changed the show to talking about bass fishing. Okay. And we'll call it the Ninja Troll Fishing Cast.
Yeah. Hey, I'm just waiting on a hologram cover.
Oh,
because I had those too.
I hope we don't do it. Or a die cut, like an old V.C. Andrews book where you open it up. It's like,
yeah.
Oh boy.
But yeah, I'm excited to see Shadow Man kind of come back to the forefront.
Character.
Yeah. I've always liked Shadow Man, so that'll be exciting.
Yeah.
And we were talking about at the beginning of the show. I was saying that there's a couple of manga publishers that have come to Comixology.
Cool.
Kondasha Comics and Weekly Shonen Jump are both now on Comixology. Kondasha Comics is the publisher of Attack on Titan.
Yep.
So they have
the creepiest thing ever.
Exactly. They have 350 Kondasha titles on Comixology now.
Dang.
And Weekly Shonen Jump is a weekly manga magazine that has been home to some of the most successful and popular series of all time. I don't know the number of titles they have on, but it looks like there's like a huge influx of manga titles on Comixology. If you're of the digital comic bend, you can in a manga fan, you can definitely get your fill.
There's quite a bit.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Also, the new reboot of Silk in the all-new, all-different Marvel. And if you don't know, Silk is actually, she was, her name is Cindy Moon, and she was bit by the same spider that bit Peter Parker. But they knew she was actually what caused the whole Spider-Verse thing. When the family that tried to come and eat all the spiders, basically, they were looking for her because she's some kind of special super talisman, spider talisman. So they knew somebody knew that they were going to be looking for her, so they hid her away.
Okay.
So
I haven't read this Spider-Verse stuff, so this is great to hear.
Yeah, it gets a little confusing because everybody's in essentially the same costume, but with like a little tweak. So it really, you need like balloons to pop up and go, okay, this is Spider-Man from so-and-so, just to keep up with them.
Yeah.
Because everybody's in the same costume except for just a little difference here and there.
Oh, gosh.
It's hard to keep up with.
It sounds like it.
But Silk is really good. She actually lived a large part of her life in a bunker with no contact with the outside world at all.
Wow.
So after Spider-Verse, she's trying to
reacclimate.
Yeah, like to get herself, not even reacclimate. She didn't know how to do it in the first place. To just acclimate herself to the real world. and actually ends up going back to the bunker, like living there, but going out to a job, and then like because she just couldn't take having her own apartment and having a job, so she goes back to living at least at night in the bunker.
Wow.
Because she just couldn't take it.
And so she was put there to protect her from whatever this
the
evil force.
Inheritors, I think was what it was called.
Okay.
The family was called. So now in the all different Marvel, she's going to get a reboot like everybody else. She's now working for Black Cat, who has become like a superpowered crime lord.
Really?
Yeah. Black Cat.
Female Black Cat.
Black Cat is bad.
Spider-Man. Hero.
She used to be a hero. Now she's really pissed at Peter, and she's a villain now.
Wow.
So now Cindy's working for her. So is she just like undercover, or what's the deal there?
Wow.
That'll be interesting to see what they do with her. But it's a really good. I like the Silk series. It's a lot of fun because, like I said, she's trying to get used to living in the real world, getting used to being a superhero. The art style is a lot of fun too.
That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just looking through. It seems too like maybe her persona a little bit, maybe sort of was. You see it come up a little bit with, I guess, a Spider-Gwen maybe, right? Because she's a young kid.
Yeah.
Just like Peter and.
Yeah.
Wow, it looks like they've had some romance together.
Yeah, when they first met, they couldn't keep their hands off each other, like spider pheromones.
Yeah,
they just they were just basically jumping each other immediately.
I like the look. I mean, she's got kind of the ninja look.
Yeah,
which is pretty cool. Looks like a Mortal Kombat character, actually.
Yeah, kind of
a little bit. Katana, right? Maybe.
Yeah. Yeah. So that'll
cool.
be interesting to see when that comes out. Also, DC is releasing a collected edition of Gotham Central in May of 2016.
What is Gotham Central?
Gotham Central, it follows the Gotham City Police Department Major Crimes Unit.
Oh.
So, and I'm not sure, but I believe Harvey Bullock is like kind of the main part of that.
Cool.
So you kind of get like a police procedural, but they're dealing with the crimes that superpowered people are committing.
Sounds like S.H.I.E.L.D. But it's cops.
Kind of, but it's cops specifically. Yeah. In a place like Gotham City where they're like, you can't throw a stick without hitting a supervillain.
Oh, right.
So
I'm sure there'll be some Batman. Because I've been at least seeing the Gotham Academy series that's going on right now that I guess is pretty good.
Yeah, that is. I think Damian Wayne. Robin
school
went there for a while. I don't think he stayed there very long.
Okay.
But he was a student there for a while. So that may have just been to give it a little boost to say, hey, Robin's in this.
Maybe we call it Batwarts instead of Hogwarts.
Yeah. But yeah, the Gotham Central, that sounds pretty interesting because it's would be kind of like a police procedural, but dealing with the aftermath. It sounds almost like Powers.
Yeah.
If you've heard of the show that I think PlayStation Network is doing that. It's based on it's based on I think an Image comic. It's called Powers, where there's a police officer who used to be a superhero, and they have to deal with kind of the aftermath. And it's stuff that we've never really, you kind of know it would have to happen, but in a world where, like, okay, Batman catches the Joker. He's not allowed to arrest anybody because he's not a cop.
No, right.
So you have to figure out, okay, if we arrest the Joker, he was illegally detained by a citizen.
Yeah, vigilante.
A vigilante. Yeah. So how does that hold up in court? And it begs questions, and it's stuff like that. If you can answer those questions, in without getting bogged down into nerdy details,
right? And
then
confusing,
and just taking the fun out of it. I think you could have a very successful series there.
All I keep thinking of, like, was it Chief O'Hara or on the Batman 66?
Yeah, it was Chief O'Hara.
You're like, Batman.
Yeah.
Right, with the
He's a total
Batman.
idiot.
We found a clue with a question mark.
What should we do?
What do you make of it?
You're a cop.
Yeah, right.
What are
you're
you
like,
doing?
Aren't you like the chief?
Yeah, you're
right?
the chief. And why you got a commissioner and a chief?
I don't know.
That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. The redundancies, the union.
It's a big city, so maybe they need both.
Yeah.
But that's a look at that's a spin of the comic rack, so you got to get the terminology right.
The comic rack.
The comic rack, yeah.
If you spell it right, it works.
It's true.
And it spins. It wobbles.
Yep. All right, that's a spin of the comic rack, and when we're going to take a break, and we're going to come back, and we're going to explore the multiverse.
Just now, another kid dropped out of school. There's one every 20 seconds. Over 200 kids an hour. That adds up to nearly 5,000 kids every school day.
If we do nothing, 3.5 million kids won't receive a diploma over the next 4 years. But there is someone who can change that. And that someone is you. United Way knows that kids who have a caring adult in their life are more likely to make it. So make a pledge. Tutor a child who needs help. Mentor a kid who needs someone on their side. Volunteer to read to children. Because the path to success or failure starts long before graduation day. And the difference between a graduate and a dropout could be you. Take the pledge to volunteer now at unitedway.org. Brought to you by United Way and the Ad Council.
You're listening to the Ninja Troll Digicast.
Don't make me angry. You wouldn't like me when I'm angry.
Like you angry? Dr. Banner, we need you angry.
Smash!
That'll do. The Ninja Troll Digicast. The only podcast with a kick.
The Ninja Troll Digicast, the only podcast guaranteed to piss off Bruce Banner every time. That's what we do. All right, now it's time to head for the Misty Borderlands because we know we want to sit down and have a drink at the lounge at the Misty Borderlands.
We got to name it.
I'm serious. We need a bar that's
Felix Faust's.
Yeah, Felix Faust, Misty Borderland Cafe. But let's head for the multiverse.
Now it's time to explore the multiverse. On the Ninja Troll Digicast.
All right, and I'm in the process of reading 52, the big, huge weekly comic that came out to cover
2000s.
It covered the 1 year that was missing after Infinite Crisis.
Right.
And Ralph Dibny is with Dr. Fate, and he runs across the withered, nasty, gnarly soul of Felix Faust.
Oh, yeah.
Because he's sold it so many times, like to so many different entities.
It's beef jerky.
Exactly, it's beef jerky. So
it's not. Yeah.
But now it's time to explore the multiverse. We've been doing this for a while. We started off with the Flash of Two Worlds, which introduced us to the Earth 2. So we went there. We were introduced to the Justice Society of America, who are the Golden Age heroes from DC Comics. Back then, it was actually a chore to go from one. We had to map out the different ways that you could travel between. Now it's like flipping a switch. We're just, hey, you know what? It's like driving somewhere.
It's like a dozen ways.
It's driving to Monroe. You're just going to jump in the car and go to Earth 2. So
Monroe is like Earth 2 when you
kind of
mention it. Yeah.
So it's now become such an easy thing. They have a JSA JLA crossover. It seems like every year.
Yep.
So we've seen Earth 2 with the Justice Society of America. We've seen Earth 3 with the Crime Syndicate. We've seen Earth X with Uncle Sam and the Freedom Fighters. We've seen Earth S with the Marvel family. We have where else? We've been to the 30th century to see the Legion of Superheroes. We
been to the negative universe,
the antimatter universe.
Antimatter universe.
We've introduced that.
Earth A, which came and went in
Earth
one.
A, yeah. Earth
it
A was
retconned itself.
Yeah, with Earth A was the Earth without a Justice League.
Right.
So they went back in time, eliminated the Justice League, which again I thought was hilarious. They went back in time. They saved Krypton from exploding, so Superman never came here. They saved Abin Sur so that he never crashed, and so Hal Jordan didn't get the Green Lantern ring.
Right.
But instead of going back and saving Batman's parents, they just went back and made basically like
punched him in the face.
Punched him in the face when he was trying to go out for his first time to fight crime. So he still ends up just not only your parents are still gone, you tried to avenge them, and you're a big fat loser.
That's it.
So everybody else comes off better.
That's right.
Except for Bruce Wayne.
Like, yeah, everything had to, like, they were, I guess Bruce Wayne is so easily swayed that he doesn't,
That's horrible.
One cold cock, and he's like, I'm done with this bat thing.
Screw that.
$30 million invested back then. Let's just move on.
Screw it. We're done.
But now we're in JLA 171 from October of 1979. And we are in the
almost to the 80s now.
Almost,
yeah.
We're in the Justice League Justice Society satellite. It's not called the Watchtower yet. It's called the JLA Satellite 1. I guess it's named that later. And we've got some typical heroes here. On the JSA side, we have Hawkman, who's donning now his metallic Hawkman helmet, Hawkman 1, right from Earth 2.
Okay.
Huntress is there, who has a really cool scene with Batman again, because in this at this time period, I know we talked about him, her and Batman last time from Earth 1, but the Earth 2 Batman has died.
Okay.
So that's mentioned. I don't know when it happened, but it's a detail in the story that makes Huntress, of course, very sad.
Yeah.
And turn to her uncle.
That was her in Earth 2. Huntress is the daughter of Batman and Catwoman.
Right.
So she's just lost her father. So now she's hanging out with Earth 1 Batman, who is not quite her dad, but kind of.
Yeah.
So she just calls him uncle.
That's right. I guess a safe word. I don't know. Dr. Fate is with us again. Green Lantern, Golden Age Power Girl, who's now has the more modern suit.
We're getting closer to the 80s, so the neckline is
lowering. That's it. Yeah, she looks like she looks like an evil Knievel girl now. Like, she's kind of got that look to her. Jay Garrick Flash, Mr. Terrific, and then on the Justice League side, we've got Batman, Barry Allen Flash, Hal Jordan Green Lantern, the Silver Age Hawkman, who does not have a metallic helmet, Red Tornado, Superman, and now Zatanna. Right, okay. Zatanna the Sorceress, who's pretty cool, but she's not in her classic top hat fishnet performance costume. She's in something kind of funky and weird.
Yeah, it does look a little weird. Yeah, as a matter of fact, I didn't know who it was at first.
Right, I remember you going like, who is
that?
And I was like, that's Zatanna. I know. She doesn't even look like that in Crisis on Infinite Earths. But our big bad is the Spirit King.
Okay.
Who is apparently a Golden Age hero from Earth 2.
He's a Golden Age hero.
Or Golden Age villain.
Okay,
I apologize.
Okay.
The reason being is that the JSA has been interacting with him the most.
Okay.
Which is quite interesting. So we start off, and this story is a really good murder mystery, Timmy. I think of the last few stories we've read, this one's I think the best story that I've come across, despite the coolness and characters and all the sort of gimmicks that have been in previous ones. Mm-hmm. This one's a really good one. So it's a murder mystery. It's a whodunit. It all takes place on the Justice League satellite. They lock it down.
It's
Clue.
like cool.
Yeah. Yeah, Superman says to the Green Lanterns, make a barrier so that nobody can get out. And Dr. Fate, double it so that the Green Lanterns can't get out. So we know who the murderer is. So they're looking for Mr. Body, right?
Okay, yeah.
Colonel Mustard and all those folks are hanging out. Mrs. Peacock.
And there's one point I noticed that Superman is like, I accuse. So it's just like Clue.
Totally. Yes. Except, I don't think, Tim, was it Tim Curry?
Tim Curry, yeah.
Yeah, Superman never had a drag career, so it's all good.
Not that we know of.
Not that we know of at all. So from the get-go on the cover, someone's dead, right? It's sort of saying, hey, there's a murder, and they're trying to figure out now what's going on. And Flash is holding this kind of weird piece of metal, and he says, this piece of metal holds the clue to identify his murderer. So we know it's a he.
Okay.
All right, spoiler. During a meeting of the JLA and the JSA at their Watchtower headquarters, we see the two teams, and Mr. Terrific is there, and he seems really troubled by something. And he's been actually in retirement for a while. Apparently, he's a college professor, and there's this great part in a flashback. He says, "As you know, I retired from being Mr. Terrific, and became an English instructor. Not even a professor; he's just an instructor. Poor guy." In English literature at Gateway University. 3 days ago, as I headed from to my car after my last class, I saw someone, literally, a ghost out of my past.
Eugene Levy.
Eugene Levy. There he is.
He does look like Eugene Levy.
Does he? He's like, what are you doing with that apple pie, son? His name is Roger Romaine.
Oh, wow.
But when I battled him years ago, he was called the Spirit King. So he follows him, and he sees him go into this lab, and then he melts this lock and steals this special piece of equipment. It's like this. It's very much what Barry Allen is holding on the cover.
Okay.
So, and then he is there in full professor garb, Mr. Terrific, wearing his sort of suede patches on his and all that good stuff, carrying a briefcase. Who does that anymore? And then he lunges for him to grab him, and then Spirit King disappears. And he's like, oh my gosh. So back on the satellite now, Barry says, that's rough, Terry, but why come out of retirement? And then Jay Garrick says, I've dealt with the Spirit King before. You could have called me. I would have handled it, ... And then he says in a very intense way, do you hear what you're saying?
You're telling me I'm too old.
That's pretty much, yeah. He's like, telling me I'm too old to track down my old enemy. And that's why I'm here with you all. Right? Get off my lawn. And then he runs away.
Yeah.
And they're all like, what's gotten into him? Sheesh. All right.
Mr.
Whatever.
Fair Play.
Yeah, Mr. Fairplay with his baseball.
Yeah, because this is the Golden Age Mr. Terrific.
Right.
Not the one that in the modern age now has basically a mask that has a T on it.
Oh, really?
On his face.
Okay.
It's weird. He's got a red hood and a green jacket and for some reason it's in the shape of home plate, and it says Fair Play across it.
Right.
I don't get that. I don't understand that, but okay.
It was that logo chest era, and he failed.
It's on his stomach.
He got a pile and I imagine being the costume maker for him. Sure, I'll do whatever you want.
Yeah, okay.
I just sew them.
You sure about this?
I don't make them.
Yeah.
There's a really interesting scene between Huntress and Batman, and that comes up here as they're looking out into the stars.
Yeah.
And she's distraught because her dad is dead, and now Batman is sort of trying to figure out, well, I don't know what to do. How do I handle this?
Yeah.
Because it's an out of time story, so it's well, how does that sort of work out? And she says, oh, please, Uncle Bruce, could you hold me? Just hold me for a little while. So it's a tender moment, and that's all good. Some shenanigans go on here and there, but then all of a sudden there is a massive explosion that literally blows a hole into the satellite, and all the oxygen is flying out of the satellite, and it's swoosh, crazy. So everybody's trying with their powers to try and sort of make some repairs as oxygen is sort of flowing out into space. Mm-hmm. And it's crazy. This is a cool part. Dr. Fate and Superman sort of go out because a chunk flew into space, and this is where we reveal the death, is that Mr. Terrific was killed in the accident, right, or whatever caused this explosion, which we don't know the details of yet.
They don't actually show... I don't know if they do it later, but they just show his legs.
That's it. He's Wicked Witch of the East.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That's all. Yeah, but I guess you see it in Superman's face,
Yeah.
And even the Man of Steel cannot hide the horror, his horror that he sees the identity of the corpse.
Yeah.
So it's awful.
Boy, they say it's Terry Sloan. He's dead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this was big, right? I mean, for a Golden Age character to die like this and he's been in the last 11 or so Crises stories, so more or less, as a rotating JSA member.
Yeah.
But what's really cool is Dr. Fate attracts all of these ironite meteors, and then Superman melts them, and then they weld a plate that they stick to the outside of the whole thing. It was pretty awesome. I got to say, like great teamwork, great use of powers and stuff, and
the Green Lanterns.
They rivet it back,
Nice.
which is pretty cool. Flash finds this piece of metal, and he says, well, this thing, whatever it does, is pretty much the cause of what's gone on. And then Zatanna tries to sort of use a spiritual scanner on it to learn where it came from, and then it powers come out of it and make her go into a coma.
Oh,
basically. So there's something afoot magically that's going on. Obviously, whatever the essence of the Spirit King is in that object, as well as anything else. So Mr. Terrific's dead. They have this suspicious piece of metal, and now they're starting to say, "I accuse you." Everybody in here is a suspect. And this one, it turns really into Clue.
Yeah.
So there's a vague kind of clue, right, for lack of a better word, and then Mr. Terrific's really dead. So it's like, well, what do we do?
Yeah.
And we didn't mention also at the top of this is that we're looking at now probably some of the finest work by Dick Dillon.
Mm-hmm. His work has really gotten better and a lot tighter.
And clean as space.
Yeah.
Right. We're seeing now spaces in the pages where previously this would have had 7 speech bubbles. Right. We're looking on what page is that right there? 76 of that first issue. It's the last scene, and there's a lot of picture and not so much words.
Yeah,
which is definitely more of a modern style.
More of a modern style, exactly. Yeah, because in Silver Age it was very dialogue heavy, dialogue and narration heavy, and so more of the modern style. You get more concentration on artwork and less on dialogue.
Yeah.
So you're getting more towards a modern style.
Which the Steranko's, the change in the way that Jim Steranko started to create his pages is taking effect on the industry as a whole. At least it's evident here in this JLA book. So that's sort of the first issue, right, where we sit and Mr. Terrific's dead. We don't know what to do. Things are crazy. Huntress is sad. There's a couple of details sort of being set up, and Zatanna is in a coma. In fact, so so now let's try and solve this mystery and figure out what's going on. So they're trying to replay everything that's happening, and they're looking at further clues. Why is Zatanna in this coma? And it's really the Huntress who sort of does some of this detective work, right? The Huntress, detective daughter of Earth 2's Batman, considers again the paradox of parallel worlds, for there are 2 Earths. Right, so she's sort of talking about this. It's a good recap here. But it was marred by a sudden. They had a great time with the meeting, but it was marred by the sudden, senseless slaying of a hero only recently returned from retirement, the defender of fair play, Mr. Terrific. And then they sort of recount the different parts of the explosion and what had gone on. And then now you see here's Dr. Fate and the Lanterns building this sort of safety dome so that nobody can escape. And I guess whoever the murderer is try and get away. So these are just things precautionary. Here we go. We're at a conference table, so it must be official. Yep. Everything's looking good. There's some flashbacks with Mr. Terrific as far as what led up to it. Why was he so troubled? Why'd you call him old? All that.
He got a little pissed off.
He did. Yeah, he got really mad. It's like, come on, dude. So Batman finds a clue. He finds a piece of metal that looks like it's been crunched, by someone with super strength.
Oh.
So now the suspect list is getting smaller.
Yeah.
So they think perhaps that it was Power Girl, right? So you can see he says, "Oh, well, that must be Power Girl," and it's like, well, no, that's too obvious. Batman says. So it was not. He doesn't think that's how it went. So he says, yeah, it's too obvious for Batman. And now this is where it's sort of strange. So the device that they found was a portable seismograph.
Okay.
Okay, which I know is used for earthquakes, right, and stuff like that. But apparently it can detect if a speedster has run through.
Like vibrations, I guess.
Exactly.
Okay.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right, so that does make sense. I was wondering. I was like, why? I guess but it is. You're right. The vibrations is what makes it happen. They're basically Batman discovers this, and he says, "Well, let's see how it worked." And they figured out that Jay Garrick was the last person to be in contact with the Spirit King, and as you can see in that panel down there, also possesses Jay Garrick.
So the Spirit King is taking over Jay Garrick.
Exactly.
Ah.
Seeking revenge, right? Because he was last defeated by him way back. And, so what ends up happening is Jay Garrick is possessed, and he strangles Mr. Terrific. The JLA computer, scans him, Mr. Terrific, and says that he died of strangulation, not from the explosion.
Okay.
So it's like, whoa,
that
what?
was just kind of cover up the strangulation. He caused the explosion to cover it up,
which caused a panic and sort of got everybody running crazy. So he uses his body, unfortunately the Spirit King gets away. So he escapes in the transmatter cube. You can see, I think they show a picture of it. So they out him.
Yeah. He jumps into the transmatter device.
Right. So they discover in the end that the Spirit King was the person who was out of sight, but obviously was the person who was sort of running all this. Mm-hmm. And it's so they have to resolve it with a good thing. And they said, no, the reason we solved this is Superman says because we did a fair investigation.
Fair play.
Fair play.
That's right.
What? Yeah.
That's what Mr. Terrific loved.
And basically they say they won because they didn't let the Spirit King turn them against each other. Because that's what was happening. They're starting to egg each other on and all that good stuff. So mystery wise is, oh gosh, it was the Spirit King all along, which we knew, but we didn't know how he did it.
Yeah.
And that was cool. That was nice to find that detail out at the end. We have the death of Mr. Terrific, and that's kind of a big deal.
Yeah.
And that's where we leave it. The only issue is at the end. Is the big shields are still on the on the outside, and then Hal Jordan says, "All right, well, we've all built this double, triple protector thing. How do we get out now?"
How do we get out now?
And they all,
yeah. It's like the 70s sitcom ending where everybody laughs and freezes.
So right in mid high five.
Yeah.
They should have just done that. That would have been great.
Yeah, and it seems like they always end these the Spirit King jumps in the transmatter device, and then 6 panels later, it's done.
That's
They're
it.
over.
Why didn't they follow?
They wrap it up quick on.
Is he going to come back and do it again?
Yeah.
I mean, he blew a hole in the side of the.
Yeah.
The
he needs to be
space
held
station.
accountable.
And I got to say, this story had a lot of sort of space stuff going on. I wonder if they were sort of thinking, Star Wars, and that sort of pushing.
It was 79, so.
The world of comics.
Oh.
Yes, and I will say that in between this first and second issue, I was born.
Oh.
November 8th, 1979.
See? There you go.
So, you should put that on your calendar, too.
Yes.
All right. I'm a size 12 in shoes.
Get you some Ninja Troll shoes.
Yeah. If you got me some Nico toes, I would wear that. I would teach in that.
Little curled up booties.
It needs to have a bunion. Yeah. Yeah. But coming up next, we're going to be talking more about Jack Kirby. And this is going to work out perfectly because next week we're going to be looking at JLA 183, 184, and 185, which is the Crisis on New Genesis.
Awesome.
Which brings in the new gods.
Yeah.
And we were looking through some of the panels, and it looks like
Dick Dillon did the art, but it's definitely
Kirby style,
Kirby-esque.
Yeah, which looks phenomenal. I mean, the opening panel, Crisis on New Genesis, or Where Have All the New Gods Gone?
Yeah,
it's a 2-page spread, and it's gorgeous. I mean, very Crisis on Infinite Earths style.
Yeah,
with just big epic spread. So I'm excited about that, and I think the showcase is going to be a great. That's just going to complement each other. So well.
It works out. Yeah, we tried to work it out to where this was going to match up because we're doing a 3-part showcase on Jack Kirby.
because we have to.
Yeah, you have to split it into 3 parts. This week is going to be the Marvel Age, and then next week will be part 3, which will be him creating the new gods, and then the rest of the end of his career. But it'll work out perfectly to fit with this Crisis on New Genesis, because when he first created it, it was completely separate from the regular DC universe. So this drew it into it.
Yeah,
I made it a part of it.
Right. This was, again, we're seeing the literary mechanics of the Crisis story, what it does. And I think once we understand that, it's like, cool. This is what crossovers kind of do.
Yeah, it kind of connects everything and lets you know that they're all interrelated. So, But yeah, that's our exploring the multiverse segment, and we're going to take a break, and we're going to come back, and we're going to have our showcase segment that we were just talking about on Jack Kirby and the Marvel Age.
Our hailing frequencies are always open. Find us on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. Just search Ninja Troll Digicast, or drop us an email at ninjatroll@digitaltuxedo.com.
Ranger Station, Ranger speaking.
Hi. I'd like to report a bear hug.
Okay.
Well, before I left my campsite, I was putting out my fire, and out of nowhere, Smokey Bear showed up and hugged me?
So you drowned the fire, you stirred it, drowned it again, and felt that it was cold?
Uh-huh.
Oh, yeah. He likes it when people correctly put out their campfires. He's pretty big on wildfire prevention. He's just letting you know you did good with a hug. He's a hugger.
I just got a bear hug from Smokey Bear. Status update!
All right, I'm going to let you go now. I've got a lot of ranger stuff to do. There are many ways to start a fire, but one sure way to put it out. Learn how you can do your part at SmokeyBear.com.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Sponsored by the U.S. Forest Service, Ad Council, and your state forester.
Hi, my name is Sanford Green, illustrator and artist for Marvel Comics, artist on Deadpool and The Incredible Hulk, X-Men, and you're listening to the Ninja Troll Digicast podcast. No. I'm looking at the... Sorry.
Just start out. You're listening to the Ninja Troll Digicast.
Digicast.
And don't forget Shaft.
Okay. Ready?
Yep.
Hey, this is Sanford Green, artist over at Marvel Comics, illustrator on Deadpool, and cover artist for Shaft, and you're listening to the Ninja Troll Digicast.
All right. Now we've got it all. We got it all properly now. Got that all nailed down. This is the Ninja Troll Digicast, and now it's time for our showcase segment. We've been, like we were just saying, because we had to, we split Jack Kirby into 3 parts because his career is just
epic.
Yeah, too crazy. So last week we talked about his Golden Age stuff. We talked about the creation of Captain America and all the different stuff he did, Blue Bolt, and the sheer number of things he did.
Right, comic books, comic strips.
Yeah, it was it was nuts. He worked for pretty much every different company. He at least freelanced for them.
Wow.
He went through Archie, Crestwood, of course National Comics and Timely Comics. He worked for pretty much, like I said, he's damn near everybody. But we left it off last time. He was freelancing at National Periodicals, I think is what it was actually called then. And an editor there had gotten him some work on a newspaper strip called Sky Masters of the Spy Force, or Space Force, which is just an awesome name. And that guy basically said he was owed some royalties from that.
I remember this.
Jack Kirby didn't like that. They got into this big riff, and actually Jack Schiff, who was the editor, sued him and won. So, at that point, he's really kind of not, he doesn't really work with him anymore. So he left National Periodicals in 1958 and went to what at the time was actually called, I think it was still called Atlas at that point. Atlas Comics that would then become Marvel Comics.
Was it Timely?
It was Timely first.
Okay.
That was back in the 40s. It was Timely Comics. Then the 50s it went to Atlas Comics. And actually, I did write it down. In 1957, it ceased to be Atlas because they lost a distributor, and they went with Independent News as a distributor. So if you look at the first Fantastic Four and the first Hulk, it has a little box that says IND.
Oh.
So it wasn't technically even
Marvel.
Atlas. It wasn't Marvel. It wasn't.
Oh, wow.
I think the overall company may have been called Marvel Comics Group because it has a box also that says MC.
Oh.
So I don't know technically what the name of the company at that point was.
It might not have been much of a company, right?
Exactly.
They were like, we didn't have a logo.
Yeah, the story is that they were very close to closing their doors before Fantastic Four really hit. So I mean, it very well probably wasn't much of a company. And actually, Stan Lee has talked about that there was he was probably the only actual non-freelance employee at the time.
They went all freelance to save money.
Exactly. Yeah. You don't have to pay benefits and.
Did they do that back then?
I don't know. Maybe not.
Yeah, I don't know.
But you could pay less to freelancers.
Sure.
Than,
for a quick job.
He left National Comics in 1958 and went to Atlas Independent, whatever it was actually being called at the time.
Was he still with Joe Simon?
No, they had split.
Previously.
He and Joe Simon had split. They worked, actually, they did work just a little bit again together on creating The Fly and one other. The Fly and the Double Life of Private Strong for Archie Comics. And he also drew some issues of Classics Illustrated during this time. Because when he first went back to, we'll just call it Atlas or Marvel, for lack of a better name, because of the low page rates, which, like you said, the company's on its last legs, so they had low page rates. So he would spend a lot of times 12 to 14 hours a day
just cranking
at his drawing board, cranking out like 8 to 10 pages of artwork a day.
Unbelievable.
If you can imagine that, that's just ridiculous. The amount of stuff he could put out.
Oh man.
And it was at the time Atlas was producing Western, romance, crime, and monster comics, and which those were all right in his wheelhouse. So he did all of those.
Right, perfect. Right, he created with Joe Simon the romance genre,
exactly,
right, of comics. As you said.
So he first started working. His first work at Atlas was I Discovered the Secret of the Flying Saucers story in Strange Worlds #1, which he also did the cover for. In December of 1958.
Awesome.
Like we said, he covered all the different genres that they were publishing at the time, but he really kind of found his niche in the supernatural fantasy and science fiction stories with almost like drive-in movie kind of monsters.
Yeah, the schlock.
The schlock, the big crazy monsters. He did stories like Grotto, King of the Insects, Fin Fang Foom, which actually ended up being
the dragon.
Yeah, the dragon.
Iron Man?
Iron Man villain.
Wow.
Exactly. Yeah. Actually, the Mandarin controls Fin Fang Foom.
Cool.
So, it ended up coming back, and just like this next one, he created Groot, the Thing from Planet X.
Oh.
So he created Groot even before.
Whoa. Guardians.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah.
That's so cool. And he's one of the most popular characters now.
Although it was not I Am Groot. He actually, the cover that it was like Tales to Astonish #13, I think was the cover, or
I see this.
the story, and it was a much larger Groot stomping through a city.
Oh, these are all right. So these are like Wizard of Oz trees throwing apples.
Basically, yeah. Yeah, and it's and he had like a full vocabulary in it, but of course it was all like I am Groot, the commander of Planet X, and so it was
big bad guy monologue.
Exactly, yeah. So, but it ended up they used that as a character to include in the Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh, that's awesome.
And turned in, like you said, one of the biggest characters now.
So popular.
Yeah. So, he also, like we were saying, he briefly worked with Joe Simon again, developing the series The Fly and the Double Life of Private Strong for Archie Comics. So he was still freelancing for other companies, and did the work for Classics Illustrated.
How do you have time? It's like
I don't.
It's
If
a
you're
workhorse.
Yeah, if you're cranking out that much, and it was just a matter of, you've got a family to support. You got to do it.
Yeah.
And he was making so little on page rates that he had to just do it. I mean,
I'm gonna look up on YouTube. I think try to see a video of him drawing.
Oh yeah.
Like just watching him put together a character because I want to see how he lays down lines. It's like because there's so much confidence in his work.
Oh yeah.
Like, I wonder
at
if
that point
makes it that way.
And you just if you're cranking out that much artwork a day, you're not dallying over a line here and there.
No, you're just going with it.
Boom.
Yeah,
just laying it
it's
down.
Yep. Right.
Yeah. So yeah, you got to be. So, but of course, what we're here to talk about with the Marvel Age is not Groot, is not Fing Fang Foom. It is
Classics Illustrated.
Yeah.
No, okay.
Starting with the Fantastic Four and what they call the Marvel Age.
Nice.
There's several different stories about the birth of the Fantastic Four, and I think quite frankly, you can combine all of them into one, and you might get what actually happened.
Yeah.
But the most well-told story is that Martin Goodman, who was Stan Lee's uncle and the head of the publishing company that was Timely, Atlas, Independent, Marvel, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, whatever they were.
The story is that he was playing golf with either Jack Leibowitz or Erwin Donenfeld of National Comics, and that Leibowitz or Donenfeld was bragging about the sales figures for Justice League.
Oh, because killing it.
And they were really killing it. So, and that Martin Goodman came back from that and ordered Stan Lee to come up with a team book. That has been kind of debunked now. It's become lore.
Yeah.
But it's kind of been debunked. What more accurately might be was Goodman was a very astute observer of what worked in the publishing, and he was a pulp publisher before he started Timely Comics.
So he knows what sells and what
exactly.
doesn't. Yeah.
So it doesn't necessarily have to be somebody telling you something. He's going to know what's selling, and so most probably that's where it came from.
Okay.
Because there was somebody who actually debunked the whole thing of the golf game, saying that that's where that came from. I forget who it was that debunked it. But
told the story. Okay.
Yeah. But as far as the actual book itself, Stan Lee says that he created a synopsis for the first Fantastic Four story and gave it to Kirby, who then drew the story. Then Lee added dialogue and captions.
Wow.
That's what Stan Lee says. Kirby, at one point, claimed that he came up with the idea for the Fantastic Four in the Marvel office, and that Lee merely added dialogue after the story was all done.
So
he says it's more him than Lee. Lee says he came up with the idea, and then he drew it, and I think it was both. It was kind of magic in a bottle. It was, like I said, you combine the stories, and you come up with the real truth.
There's always one mother of invention, and all the daddies come back when they're so successful.
Yeah, and Kirby would actually, and I think this was part of the inspiration, and we talked about it last week. Kirby would always point to the Challengers of the Unknown that he created at DC before he left there, and we talked about it. It looked very similar to the Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
So that was part of his going, oh, look at this! I created this, and this. So this is but you drew it. So of course, if you're gonna make a team, you're gonna draw right back on that.
Right.
So,
base it on things you've done that
exactly.
worked.
Yeah. So
that makes sense.
So yeah, but also Kirby had a tendency to kind of
accordion the truth.
Yeah, speaking hyperbola, as Stan Lee would say it.
Yeah.
he tells a story about when he first arrived at Marvel, that the furniture was being moved out. They were basically closing down the company, and the furniture was being moved out, and Stan Lee was sitting there crying in the office. And so he came up to him, told him to stop crying, and to tell Martin Goodman to stop selling the furniture, and that he would guarantee that books would sell.
Oh, my God.
So, see, that's just a little too much
Wow.
to be accepting.
Damn.
And Stan Lee has said, that quite frankly, if furniture was going to be moved out, it'd have been on the weekend. So he wouldn't have walked in while they were moving. And he said,
on Tuesday.
And Stan Lee says, I'm not a crier, so I'm not going to be sitting there crying. Because he was very close to wanting to get out of the business himself.
Stan Lee.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
and this was like a last-ditch effort.
Kind of,
right?
yeah.
Fantastic Four.
Yeah, it was like basically, let's throw it against the wall and see what happens.
Yeah.
They were
Hail Mary of a story. And
they were kind of, recreating things as they went.
But you got the greatest artist in the business,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then, what became one of the greatest writers in the business.
Arguably the greatest writer in the business.
Yeah, could be.
Yeah. So, but however it happened, lightning in the bottle was captured with Fantastic Four, and it was huge. It's
what were the figures and stuff? How many did they sell?
I could not find that because at the time, with it being their distribution wasn't even theirs, so it's hard.
The records are probably
they probably don't have records, but it was. They went more off of fan response, like fan mail and stuff like that, and they got a huge amount of that.
Okay, so that's a great indicator.
Yeah. It was huge when it came out, and it changed the standard way that comics were done in the day. The standard operating procedure was for the writer to give the artist a completed script, and then they would do that, and then the lettering would be done after. Lee and Kirby worked out in a different way.
Yeah.
They would give Lee would give him a simple synopsis, or sometimes like just an outline, or sometimes just an idea. And Kirby, you had to have somebody that had the storytelling ability of somebody like Jack Kirby to do that, because you could give him an idea, or Steve Ditko was the same way.
Mm-hmm.
So you could just give them an idea like that, and they could run with it and come up with it. Because if you think about it, Stan Lee was basically writing everything at that point.
Yeah, with all the great Marvel books.
So
right?
he wouldn't have time to really sit and flesh out these big, long scripts.
So long story short, right, it's probably that all comics guys had the ability to claim creatorship, ownership on things.
Mm-hmm.
They did it collaboratively, which was harder to do.
Yes.
So it just made sense to fight over who was the
Yeah, and the way they do it allows them both to say, "Oh no, it was all me."
Yeah.
So it kind of lends that to.
They both have the hubris to.
Exactly.
To
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't like the way it used to be, where Stan Lee would write an entire script, hand it to Jack Kirby, and he would draw it.
Mm-hmm.
Then you could say,
I wrote it.
It was all me. Yeah. But the way this is done, it kind of throws fuel on that fire.
Yeah.
So, but that process, to where it was a simple synopsis or an outline, became known as the Marvel method.
Cool.
And it became standard for the company within a year, and pretty much for the entire industry a little bit after that. It's just the way things are done now.
Nice.
It's more of a collaborative effort.
I remember the How to Draw Comics the Marvel way.
Mm-hmm.
And
that was Jack Kirby.
That
was and
Ditko and Buscema. What's his name?
Sal Buscema.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Was he a writer or an artist?
He was an artist.
An artist. Okay.
Yeah.
So those three names I've always had in my head as.
Yeah.
But they talk about the script and almost like an artist writer type of a thing, at least in that they always sort of do that introductory text in the beginning to sort of give you a primer. Oh, this book is this way and whatever. And I feel like that had sort of elements to create that collaborative environment. It was almost saying like, well, if you can draw, you can write, and if you can write, you can draw. It sort of went back and forth.
There was a John Buscema.
Yeah. John is the one who's connected to, you saw the How to Draw Comics the Marvel way?
Yeah,
Yep.
okay.
Yeah, so he wrote that then.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, so he's the writer, and then there's Sal, who's the artist, it seems.
He's the brothers. Okay.
Oh, the brothers. Okay.
Yeah, Sal is the younger brother of John. Okay.
Cool.
Yeah. But yeah, that became, like I said, it was pretty much became the standard way, and Jack Kirby's style and look became the Marvel way.
Yeah.
To the point to where he was, he provided the style, and he would provide it on when new artists came to Marvel Comics. A lot of times, Stan would have him do breakdowns to give to the new artists, and they would simply pencil over that breakdown.
Wow.
So to get it looking exactly like his stuff.
Yeah.
Wow. But the Fantastic Four, it was a huge success with I think in a big part with the down to earth. I mean, even though it was all like space cosmic stuff, it was a down to earth realistic style for the characters. Mm-hmm. They got ticked at each other. They got mad. They would yell and
fight each other.
They would fight each other.
Yeah.
And as Stan Lee actually put it, in their superhero booties, they still had feet of clay, and so they were normal.
Yeah.
Humans, basically.
Yeah.
Reed
and Sue wanted to have a family, right? They tried. Eventually had Franklin, right?
Thing is one of my favorite characters. I never was a huge reader of the Fantastic Four, but I love the Thing character because him above all of them, he didn't want this.
Right.
They got these cool powers
that they could hide.
That they can turn off and they can hide, and they're normal.
Right.
He's not.
No, he's an orange
monster.
rock man. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a monster, and nobody wants to. His girlfriend split.
Right.
Because she didn't want to deal with him. The only girlfriend he could get is blind. So that, I mean, and I'm not disparaging that, but the fact that that is a statement that it was always to me is like because she wasn't hung up on the way he looked.
They could have a relationship. Yeah.
Even though he felt in his heart that they couldn't because he was this monster.
Yeah. They always made him like Bowery guy. You know, he always had like the Yancey Street gang he always used to like scuff with and stuff.
Yeah.
He'd be like, "What do you want?" Like real like a Cockney version of New York accent. Real street.
Yeah, but I love those characters, and I love the tragic way they did the Thing.
Yeah.
And that is what I always enjoyed. And it was the same thing with the Incredible Hulk. He didn't want this.
No.
This was thrown on him, and it's not cool. It's not something he wants. If he could get rid of it, he would.
Right, in an instant.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, some of the best fights are the Hulk and the Thing.
Oh, absolutely.
Scrapping.
They're both just pissed all the time.
Yeah.
And it's so they show up, they're gonna fight. So, and like we were saying, Jack Kirby became the Marvel house style. Wow. Even to the point to where, like, when Gil Kane has said that when he was first hired at Marvel, that was the thing. He was given Kirby pages.
Oh, wow.
To look at and go, okay, this is the Marvel style. This is what we want, and they were expected to pretty much not deviate from it very much. That's the style they wanted, and that's what they wanted to look like.
I mean,
period.
I mean, it's great. I think it revolutionized everything. But man, how insulted would you be if you walked in and they said, "Timmy, you're awesome at what you do in media and radio, but
this is what we want you to do." That yeah.
You'd be like,
and like I said, if you're hired as an artist and you're handed a breakdown sheet where Jack Kirby has basically just sketched out like a real raw drawing.
You got to be open
and
to
you
want
have
to do that.
Yeah, and you have to pencil over that.
And like it.
Yeah. I mean, of course, it's Jack Kirby.
So, you might be honored. Again, you have to be open to that.
But again, okay, this is Jack Kirby. He's been in the business 20 years, but these are guys, Gil Kane, at the time, had probably been, maybe not as long as Kirby, but he had been in the business for a while.
Yeah, looks like he's a classic guy.
So, it could be very well insulting to have that handed to you. But if you want to work at Marvel,
That's what you got to do.
That's the way it is. So.
But by now, right? Post Fantastic Four, right? Some other big titles blew up.
Yeah,
that Kirby
that's the thing. Over the
on.
next few years, Kirby and Lee created the Incredible Hulk, which was perfect for like the drive-in movie kind of monsters that he was doing.
Yeah,
it just fit in perfectly.
That's true. It's a good horror influence.
They did Thor, Iron Man, the original X-Men, Doctor Doom, the Watcher, Magneto, Ego the Living Planet, the Inhumans, Ant-Man, Galactus, the Silver Surfer, Black Panther, the Avengers, with the of course the revived his own creation, Captain America, revived and brought into the modern world.
None of that Atlas commie smasher nonsense.
Yeah, let's just forget all that.
Yeah.
And
Captain America.
Yeah, exactly. Submariner and Khazar were both Golden Age characters that they brought.
Yeah,
into
Khazar was like
modern day.
Tarzan kind of.
Yep.
Like, yep.
Yep. Yeah. So that all happened within like next couple of years. The Galactus trilogy from Fantastic Four number 48 in March 1966 was a huge moment in comics. It introduced obviously Galactus, Silver Surfer, who is both characters that are huge to this day, and the covers are just.
Oh yeah, that with the Watcher who's like, "Behold, Galactus." Did you see the thing on Facebook? Someone posted a meme, and it said like, "Only for 3 hours tonight will Galactus be visible in space."
Yes, I saw that. It's everything you see on the internet.
I went outside too.
But yeah, it was a huge moment in comics history, and it ushered in like with the Silver Surfer, it had like a cosmic science fiction feel to it.
Yeah,
that really the readers at the time just
Earth Invasion. Right, we hadn't even really done Doctor Doom yet.
He was in number 7, I think. No, number 4 was his first appearance. So yeah, he was introduced very early.
Yeah.
The first 10 issues, you got Doctor Doom twice.
Oh, you read those for your class,
I read those.
Right?
Yeah, for a comic book and graphic novel class I had, I think 2 years ago.
Yep.
You had Doctor Doom twice, maybe 3 times, and Submariner a couple times as well. Yeah, he came in as a villain, and then he was back again in like a uneasy truce, and they both went after Doctor Doom. But the whole thing with that was, he had the hots for Sue, and Sue kind of had the hots for him too.
I mean, you see that little green bikini?
Exactly. Yeah. So you had the sexual tension there, and almost like a love triangle with her and Reed and Namor.
Yeah.
So
he's a prince.
Exactly. Yeah. He's got like you said, the little green panties, the little wings on his feet.
That's right.
So, actually, this is something I didn't know. Stan Lee originally had Kirby draw the original Spider-Man story.
Wow.
But he came off looking too heroic, because Jack Kirby's going to draw him square-jawed and
50 strong.
Ready to go.
Yeah, right.
But that's not what Stan wanted for that.
Wow. Does this exist? Like, can you see
I don't know if you could. If that would be really cool to see it.
I think somebody made this.
Yeah, I don't think that's actually it. But yeah, he came off looking too heroic, so he had Steve Ditko do it instead of Jack.
Wow, that's really interesting.
Yeah, I would love to see his take on it, because he actually did have a character that was called Spider-Man. It wasn't the same. Obviously, it wasn't the same character. But Jack had worked on a character earlier that was called Spider-Man.
Oh, that's cool.
But yeah, he had Steve Ditko redraw it to kind of get the look that he wanted to.
I found this little sketch thing here. I don't know how real this is here, but like from the KirbyMuseum.org, and it has Kirby Spider-Man. Kirby Spider-Man looks like Blue Beetle, at least in sketch form.
Yeah, kind of.
The lines on his chest there.
Yeah.
But I'm seeing like some iterations, I think, that people have tried to do, and it looks like it's...
Yeah, I don't think...
I think this is fake. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's a lot of fakes out there, and I think people have just...
So I think, if anything, it would have... It probably wouldn't have gotten even inked.
No, it would have been a drawing on...
It would have been like a pencil.
That's it, yeah.
Yeah, it wouldn't have been in... it definitely wouldn't have been colored, but it probably wouldn't even have been inked. Because he would have come with the penciled pages, and they'd have said, "Yeah, that's not what we're looking for." So
right.
So, but he started Sergeant Fury and his Howling Commandos.
Awesome.
He started that one, and then like a couple issues later, Dick Ayers took over. With basically the explosion of Marvel Comics, the good thing was he was able to cut down on his workload.
Oh, good.
So he was getting paid a little more.
Yeah,
so he was able to cut down
out 1 million pages a day.
He was able to cut down on his workload and just concentrate on Fantastic Four, Thor, and Captain America.
Cool.
And that caused a noticeable improvement in his work, because if you're cranking out that much,
it's got to be a lot of crap.
You can't stop and like I said, you can't labor over one line. You just got to be cranking it out. And you're cranking it out like that, it's going to suffer.
Some mistakes will make
it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Your work's going to suffer. So, but with that, being able to concentrate on those, he got much better. Over the next 10 years that he was at Marvel, then he continued to expound the boundaries of comics. He used photo collage covers and interiors, and he came up with new drawing techniques like the Kirby Crackle.
Oh, the little spike, the little
like the
orby.
Cosmic energy, which I didn't know that term, but as soon as I Googled it, I was like, oh, okay, yeah, you see that everywhere.
That's right. Yeah,
that's what cosmic energy looks like.
I'm glad that they named it.
Yeah, exactly.
Kirby Crackle.
Yeah, it's just stuff like that. Yeah, that's
stippling. Right,
it's
dots.
It's just now for us, it's like, oh, that's what cosmic energy looks like.
Right.
We just accept it. That's
right.
But at the time, it had never been done. So,
that's cool.
But unfortunately, as kind of a recurring theme in Jack Kirby's career, he became more dissatisfied working. He never stayed any one place for
more than
long.
A decade. It seems like
this decade at Marvel Comics was probably about the longest.
He made so much money. I mean, they changed the business.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. But he became more and more dissatisfied with working. Part of it was Stan Lee's increased media presence. Because Stan was the face of the company, and Stan was the creator. He was always said he was the creator of all these.
Yeah.
And every Marvel comic says Stan Lee presents.
Mm-hmm.
So that's got to start to
make you feel.
Yeah, it's got to start to dig on you a little bit.
Especially with a collaborative effort being the sort of seed of all these great titles, to then have it be sort of sucked back into what the traditional model was, which was like, oh, it must have been Stan Lee.
Yeah.
I get that.
Yeah. I can completely understand that. Yeah, it's and he was also at the same time, he wasn't given as much creative control as he felt like he wanted.
It sounds like they got his product, the Kirby style, and then they were like, well, here's what we're going to do with it.
Yeah.
And it became a commodity.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
he's
exactly.
Back working again.
Yeah, he's back at the garment factory like his dad.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, and he in 1970 he was that would be 11 years that he was there.
Okay.
Or 12 years. He came in 58. He was given a contract that included the stipulation that he was prohibited against legal retaliation towards the company.
Because he's famous for
that. Because I mean, quite frankly, if I was Marvel Comics, I might
CYA.
I might conclude that myself, because he's famous for doing that.
Yeah.
He pushed back against that, but management would not make any changes to the contract.
No, of course not.
And at the time he was making $35,000 a year freelancing with Marvel. So he was still freelancing. Yeah.
Just freelancing.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's
nice.
But besides that fact, and this was 1970, so $35,000.
Yeah, I
It's
wonder
a nice
what
little
that
chunk
would
of
be.
change.
What would that? Yeah, there's probably an adjustment for inflation.
I'm sure, yeah. But
It's probably $80K, $90K. Today,
yeah, it was
to be an artist.
nice little chunk of change.
Pretty damn good.
So yeah, even though he was making that much, he decided in 1970 that he was going to leave Marvel, and he entered negotiations with DC Comics, which is now National Periodicals had become DC Comics, and eventually ended up joining DC under the editorial director of Carmine Infantino.
Yeah.
And that's where we're going to leave off on this one. We're going to pick up next week as he goes to DC Comics. He basically went to DC Comics with carte blanche.
It's awesome.
They said, you do what you want to do.
So I guess give us a little preview, Timmy, of the setup. So like Marvel's blowing doors, right, on DC. So their sales have like eclipsed DC. Or maybe met them? Or
I think probably at the time, I'd have to look to see what the sales were like, but I think probably
mid-decade they met and then maybe surpassed slightly.
I think they would probably say they would surpass them at that point.
Because, I mean, all the stories we're reading is from that time period, right?
Yeah.
All the Crisis stories are all from then.
Yeah.
So I wonder then, like, was DC sort of seeing the decline? They brought Kirby on saying, wow, this guy changed the business.
Yeah.
Here we've got him.
I think it was absolutely what it was. It was a way to he wasn't happy over there, so we bring him over here and let him do what he wants.
And happiness equals success.
Exactly.
And millions of dollars.
So
$1 million. Right.
He was able to. His first thing was the New Gods.
Yeah.
So that's where we're going to pick up next time.
Oh, that's cool.
And see what he created when he went there and how he kind of changed the business again. I mean, he's done it several times already, so why not? Let's do it again.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, that's where we're going to pick up next time on part 3 of our Jack Kirby's showcase, which fits in perfectly with next week's Crisis or Exploring the Multiverse segment, which will be the Crisis with the New Gods, or Crisis on New Genesis.
Yep.
So we'll get to see those. And that story was probably about 10 years after where we're at in Kirby's story.
Yeah, we're 1980.
So it will be the New Gods being pulled into the main DC continuity.
And New Gods was when? When did New Gods come out?
70 or 71.
Okay. So straight away.
Yeah, he went right to work and just boom.
Wow.
So yeah, it was so like a decade later, they were then being pulled into the main DC continuity, and have been part of it still to this day.
Yeah, right. We're talking about the
characters
Batman in the Mobius chair.
Yep,
right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
That's
so
cool.
it's a huge impact on the DC universe. So that's going to start off our segment, our showcase segment next week, and then we'll also touch on that in our multiverse segment. So it's going to be a Kirby-tastic episode next week.
Can't wait.
Of the Ninja Troll Digicast.
I'm wearing my Argyle socks.
There you go. So that is going to wrap things up for this edition of the Ninja Troll Digicast. Remember, for all the latest news from all around geek culture, make sure you follow us on social media, facebook.com/Ninja Troll Digicast, Twitter @Ninja Troll Show, and Instagram @Ninja Troll Digicast. And also our YouTube page at youtube.com/C/Ninja Troll Digicast. And you can always visit us at NinjaTrollDigicast.com. While you're there, click on the subscribe to iTunes button to make sure you're subscribed to us on iTunes. And if you're on iTunes and you're listening to the Ninja Troll Digicast through there, go over there, give us a review. Give us a little, click the little star. Click all 5 of the stars.
Yes.
So we look really cool. And and give us a good review on iTunes so we can get more subscribers on iTunes. So,
cool.
All right, make sure you join us next week. Same Ninja time, same Ninja channel.
You've been listening to the Ninja Troll Digicast. Tune in next time when you'll hear Mike say,
"Some days you just can't get rid of a bomb."
This is the Ninja Troll Digicast, the defenders of all things geek culture.
Don't go ninja, nobody don't need ninja.